What's up, fam? Bam. What's going on out there, man? Mainman, Mademan here, just dropping on through. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man, all day. Kush, the greatest in the building. What's up, fam? He say he hype about this fight. I'm hype about this fight right here. I know that's right, fam. Same here, man. Same here. I'm ready, bruh. Can't wait for this weekend, man. It's going down. Just caught fresh off catching that press conference, man. Man, I'm ready, champ. Did you see that face off, man? Slim, it looked like that you had to peel them two away, man, to get them from in front of each other. I'm liking that. I'm liking that, man. I like the whole feel of this, man. That's a good thing that Top Rank did right there. That came straight out of Top Rank's pocket. I like what I saw. I like what I saw. Most importantly, though, I was happy to see the size difference. Yo, man, I didn't know Crawford was towering over Brook like that. Look, Crawford looking big, champ. He looking big. He looking fit. Man, Crawford looking like he ready to go. And that's leading me to the question that y'all see right there in front of y'all. Can Crawford bully Brook? Let's keep it 100, fam. Everybody got the fight made up a certain kind of way in their minds. First half of the fight, Kell Brook is going to be right there, right? Pushing back Terence Crawford. Doing that pull counter that he do so nice. That pull count is Kell Brook's bread and butter. He's going to be right there. Everybody say it. You got it made up in your mind. Kell Brook is in this fight for the first 6 rounds. Second half of the fight, well, that's the question mark for everybody right there. We don't know what we're going to get from Brook going down the stretch. And that is the golden question. Ronnie Boy Fresh in the building. What's up, fam? What's going on? He say, hey, Slim, Boogeyman Bug on dog walk Brook. I'm just about to get there, Ron Boy. I'm about to get there. And that's the question right there. And maybe the reason I'm in this frame of mind is because I'm fresh off watching the Carson Jones versus Kell Brook 1 fight. Fresh off watching that a few minutes ago. And it just begs the question, like, if Carson Jones can do what he did to Kell Brook in that first fight, the way he pushed Kell Brook, I just wonder what Bud can do to him. Now, I'm going to tell y'all like this. Kell Brook, to me, at least in the first half of fights, for sure, has never truly really been bullied. Earl didn't bully him in the first half. Even Gennady Golovkin through that, 5-6 rounds that they went or whatever, it still wasn't a total bullying by Gennady Golovkin in the first half. I thought he took his foot off the gas. The first punch of the fight actually hurt Brook and he stopped. But anyway, he still didn't bully Brook. Carson Jones started to shine on Brook down the stretch. Same thing. But I'm wondering, can Terence Crawford come out first 6 rounds, step into Kell Brook? Can he do it? Everybody got the fight made up a certain kind of way. The thing I'm looking at is there ain't going to be no family or friends in the building for Kell Brook. Terence Crawford say his family going to be there. Certain people get certain energy from the crowd, from their family. If you know you got your people out there rooting you on, pushing you that extra mile. Kell Brook will be over here all by his lonesome. But whatever trainer he using, Dom Ingle ain't going to be there. Eddie Hearn ain't going to be there. I don't know if his wife and kids or anything like that are coming, but I don't think they're going to be there. Maybe that actually helps Brook. Who knows? Maybe that pushes him. But I just think that you still get a certain energy from your people being there. And Crawford's people going to be there. Crawford looking big, bruh. I'm just saying, I wonder. And I want everyone to remember what you said. If Crawford comes and dominates, I repeat, dominates, then we got to give him full credit. And he remains number 1 pound for pound by a mile. But I just wonder. Now, Kell Brook can do everything. Inside, outside. He's strong. Everyone says his best thing that he got going for him is his strength. But when we talk about Kell Brook's natural strength or whatever they want to call it, I do recall Terence Crawford constantly getting in there with bigger men. Jeff Horn fight, he was thoroughly outweighed, and Jeff Horn is a rough, tough fighter. So we've seen him in there with strong people, pushing him back, bullying him. He bullied Jeff Horn. Few low blows, get him crying to the ref. He was a bigger man. He was strong. This dude at 160 right now, Bud bullied him. So why couldn't he do this to Kell Brook? Why wouldn't he be able to do this to Kell Brook? Now, Kell Brook's number one reason that he normally slows down is some people say because of his discipline. And that doesn't play out here, man. He's been training. He's not been cheating. He ain't been, he's been over here in America. He's away from his family. He's away from all of the distractions. So this is a great thing going for him. I say this to y'all. You go back to the Showtime Sean Porter fight, and you're talking to a major Kell Brook fan, but you go back to the Sean Porter fight. That was the best version of Kell Brook that I have ever seen in any fight. From fitness level to game plan to execution. From beginning to end, that was the best version of Kell Brook I've ever seen in any fight, especially on that level. And in that fight, he started to slow down the stretch. Sure, Sean Porter made it ugly. Sean Porter was smothering a lot of his work, staying on top of him. But he started to tire down the stretch. Carson Jones won, tiring down the stretch. Carson Jones 2, we didn't make it to the stretch because it was at a higher weight class and he came in looking good. The point I'm making is, in his best fight and best look, he still started to fade down the stretch in a sort of way. I thought. So I'm just saying, man, if that can happen to them, it can happen to him. You know what I'm saying? Real spill. Let me see what the fam talking about. Mike, what's up, Mike? What's going on? Crawford looks skinny as hell in that Run DMC sweatsuit. Come on, Mike, man. I was coming this joint hating, man. Come on, man. Sweatsuit, and Brook was talking with more confidence and said he will stop Crawford. Crawford did not speak no fire. You see where Earl looking against Dan. Man, look, I mean, I heard what Brook saying that he's gonna stop Bud, and that's cool. That's cool. I think he is going to go for it. I don't even take that away from Kell Brook. I think Kell Brook is definitely going to go for putting a lot of pepper on Terence Crawford early on in the fight. I don't think he believes that Crawford is stronger than him or none of that. And I think he's just going to have to find out, like everybody else that got put in front of Bud, who thought that he was too small, who thought that he was too skinny, too wiry. He can't be strong until he get in there and he throwing you around the ring and he grabbing you and he wrestling with you just as much as you wrestling with him. The part I'm telling y'all, man, what's going to happen is if Crawford takes 2, 3, 4 of these early rounds, that's going to be a problem for Kell Brook. I don't see him overcoming a wide margin going down the stretch. That's just me. And I've been watching Brook for years. But he doesn't mount a strong enough second half of fights to make some sort of comeback. I just don't see it. He go down too much too early. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be. There hasn't been a fight that you can really go by. I mean, especially on a I ain't gonna say elite level, but against a decent opponent. Kell Brook, he always kind of fades. It's nothing. I don't know if he can just get. He just can't get away from it. Even when he comes in making weight, even when they said he has a great camp, he fades. It's just the problem that he has. Even when he's came in looking good in fight, he fades. Oh, my phone was ringing off the hook. He fades. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me for a minute, fam. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Yo, man, who calls me doing a live stream, man? Who calls me doing a live stream? Now, back to what we were saying. Let's go. Stringer say, yo, whatever Brook does will only set him up for the chin check later, man down all day. But that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, he's going to tire down the stretch. He's going to open up down the stretch, I believe. But I'm just wondering, can honestly Crawford do it a bit earlier? I think that he's going to step to Brook, and I think he's going to throw all hands and feet at Brook, man. I think he's going to hit him downstairs. I think he's going to push Brook. Brook is he always has a problem with a relentless opponent. With a relentless, I thought he did well against Earl Spence Jr. early. But Earl's relentlessness grinded him down. Gennady Golovkin, relentless, grinded him down. All these Carson Jones in the first fight, being relentless, he wasn't doing nothing that was fancy. He wasn't cutting the ring off that good. He just was relentless. He just wouldn't stop coming. And he eventually always gets to Brook. The relentlessness. He had some tough rounds down the stretch against Michael Zarafa because Michael Zarafa never stopped. And I don't think Crawford's going to stop. The difference is I think Crawford going to start it a bit early. Maybe even willing to get touched up here and there. But I really think that Crawford going to go in there and try to bully Kell Brook. I'm telling y'all. How Brook show off at the weigh-in. I think he meant to mean press conference. Yeah, he must have meant press conference. Brook going to be so concerned about his eyes. I'm telling Bud, going to sit him down with a body shot. I think that's where it's coming from too, fam. Took the words right out of my mouth. I think it's going to come from a body shot. I think that Bud goes down to the guts early. He starts to grind down Kell Brook early. Kell Brook is going to be on the back foot. And he fights very well off the back foot. Pull counter. He keeps that back foot moving. He got very good feet. He got those really thick, strong thighs, so he keeps moving. But I think that's going to catch up to him. I think Bud is going to be the bigger man. And I know this may come as a surprise. I think Bud is going to be the more physically imposing man. I do. Y'all talking about he tall and skinny? Nah, I think Bud is going to be the more physically imposing man pushing the action, going downstairs. And it's going to be relentless. And I wonder how Brook deals with that. Now, if Brook starts to clock Bud too many times with them right hands early, that could make Bud stop and think about it and make an adjustment. We know he comes out slow in most fights. I think after the second round, he puts his foot on the gas early. But if he gets too many of them right hands on the inside or too many of them pull counters, he takes a step back. Maybe he gets back on his boxing for a couple rounds and then eventually get back into bully mode. But I don't think he's going to be out of bully mode, if you get where I'm going, much in this fight. I think he looks at Kell Brook like, I'm going to break you. That's what I truly do. I get that feeling. Don't ask me what evidence you got. I just get the feeling. He looks at Brook like, I'm going to break you. And I think he wants to break Kell Brook. This is big for Bud. Y'all don't know how big this really is. We just got news the other day, Bud saying he got months left on his deal with Top Rank, literally months. Do y'all understand now? This heightens the situation. Bud fighting for a contract. Bud got something to prove. He knows that if he looks impressive in this, he can be shopped around. He can pick his price. He can say where he wants to go. What do you want to do? He ain't got time to play with Kell Brook. So the stakes has been raised. He can't lose. He can't lose. And he needs to look good doing it, especially knowing that the Earl Spence Jr. fight is more closer than ever. You can't look bad right now. And I think he approaches this fight with a chip on his shoulder to send a message to the PBC welterweights. If I come over there, if I am on my way over there, y'all better look at what I'm doing. I think he goes in there with that chip on his shoulder. And I think he looks to stop Brook and dominate him. And the relentlessness of Bud won't stop. And I think it's going to grind Brook down. Maybe I'm tripping. People ain't even thinking about the fact that Bud can actually bully Brook. Brook has always shined in the first half of fights. He's always shined. But he's never came down to a weight class that he's not been there in 3 years. Some say it ain't going to matter. I think it will. In one way or another, I think it will. And I'll break that more down after the weigh-in. Let's see what he comes in and weighs in at. But I think it will. I think Bud is going to sense that blood in the water. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying something just don't feel. I feel a bad thing coming, man. I really do. Knuckles up. Side his head is going to be there. Yeah, all day. Mike say, yo, watch the Porter fight or Earl. That's a dog. Bro, now you're going to see a supercharged Brook. No rehydration. Brook by embarrassment. Okay, I hear you. But no rehydration clause, fine. But like I said, you go to the Zarafa fight where he fought Michael Zarafa at 154 pounds, getting touched up down the stretch. Bad like 2 rounds down the stretch of that fight. That can't be Bud, man. The relentlessness, that can't be Bud. Now, some of y'all out there who say, yo, Brook maybe just didn't have the opponent in front of him to rise to the occasion. Maybe he was bored in the ring. He didn't, he wasn't pushed. That could be the case. But I just think Bud out here was a lot to prove. Brook got a lot to prove. We've been covering Brook in a good light all last week. I did that on purpose because this is Terence Crawford's week. Last week was Brook week. This is Terence Crawford's week, and I'm gonna tell you, I think I see Crawford bullying Brook, man. I really see him bullying Brook. I really do. Slim, Brook ain't never been in a ring with a boxer as accurate as Boogeyman Bud. Facts. He's never been in there with nothing like Bud. Well, Earl Spence Jr., I don't know. Earl is a pretty accurate fighter, man. But the thing is, Earl went in there with the mindset, I'm a bully Brook. He went in there with the mindset, I'm a bully Brook. It didn't work out too good for him early on. But Bud and Earl are two different monsters. You about to see the difference in levels. He got touched up real good early on by Brook, but he kept going, and the relentlessness grinded Brook down. He couldn't sustain what he was doing, unfortunately. That's always the story of Brook. Can't sustain what he's doing. He does good work early, but he just never could sustain it. But in Bud's case, a guy who normally has no stamina issues whatsoever, and just as relentless, and can be just as relentless as Earl Spence Jr. in his own way. He needed to take a page from Earl in the Kell Brook fight. Earl stayed to Kell Brook's body. He never got away from it. Each and every round, he made sure he made a commitment to Kell Brook's body in one shape, form, or fashion. Terence Crawford should walk away with that page. Say, I got to stay on his body. I got to push him. I got to make him go. I got to keep hitting him downstairs. I got to wrestle with him. I got to tussle with him. I got to do these things. And people say, oh, well, he's so much stronger than Terence Crawford. He going to wrestle him and throw him around. I doubt it. I doubt it, champ. And that's what I'm explaining to y'all. This man is just as strong. No one is giving Terence Crawford a lot of credit for being naturally strong himself. A man with a wrestling background to keep his kids in wrestling. He's been at welterweight for the last few years now. We can miss me with the small talk. Small talk is done. That was 3 years ago when he first beat Jeff Horn. That day is over. The man has now became accustomed to the welterweight division. He's been there for years. So he's not small no more. I got a feeling that Terence Crawford is going to bully Brook, man. I'm telling y'all. I think he's going to bully him. I think he's going to go in there with a chip on his shoulder and look to bully. Now, it can go wrong. It can go left. Kell Brook possesses the skill set, and he can do everything like I told you, inside and outside. It all depends, to me, upon his stamina and focus. If he doesn't drain himself, if he is in the best shape of his life, and mentally, he's not wondering about the eye. He's not wondering about his health in the ring. He doesn't have a million things flying around his head and going into that ring. Who knows? Maybe he can. Maybe Terence Crawford's overcommitment may be his downfall. Who knows? But I just don't get that feeling. I just don't get that feeling. I think he's gonna become aggressive with Brook. I think he's gonna look and see that everyone who was aggressive with Brook eventually grinds him down. And it's been a surefire way. Sean Porter couldn't do it because he smothered too much of his work. It still was a close fight with Porter. But Porter was losing because he was smothering his work, and Kell Brook kept grabbing him and holding him. That's something that he ain't gonna be able to do against Bud. But Sean Porter's relentlessness eventually down the stretch was getting to Brook. That's the problem. Each and every fight, whether he is in shape or not. It just became a problem with Brook. And as a fan of Kell Brook, I can acknowledge that. He has a fading problem. He is Michael Jordan of 1996. He has the best fadeaway in the game. He's a fader, and that's the problem. Talented ass fighter, man. Talented fighter. Got a few disciplinary issues, but nothing too crazy. Very talented fighter. Major respect for Kell Brook. Major. But unfortunately, he's just a fader, man. He's just a fader. You know, Brook was doing a lot of holding in that fight. Exactly. That kept him alive down the stretch. Don't do that to Bud, man. Don't do that. That was the one thing that kept him alive down that stretch, man. Kept on holding Showtime Sean Porter. Not going to be able to hold Bud. He didn't do the holding process with Carson Jones. Carson Jones had Kell Brook in a position where Kell Brook had no pepper on his punches in the final rounds. He was dead tired. He was bruised and bloodied up against Carson Jones, the man who sweeps the floor at Big Bear. Facts. The man who cleans the toilet at Big Bear, you struggled with him because of a fading problem. Some say, well, man, that was back in Kell's undisciplined days. I tell you, that's Kell's every fight. You feel me? Muhammad Ali in the building. What's up, fam? What's going on? Peace and blessings to your main man. Peace and blessings to you, Muhammad Ali. Salute, family. Salute to you, man. Will McLaddy in the building. Be more stand up all day. Yo, Will McLaddy, I got a vid coming right after this live stream talking about Ryan Garcia and Tank, man. Check that joint out, man. Ryan Garcia out here jumping out there again, talking about he the A side and everybody need him and this, that, and the third. The man ain't proved nothing yet. Last I checked, Tank is a two-time world champion, but you the A side and everyone needs you, Ryan. Check out for that video, Will. Check that video out, fam. Tall is not being big. Look at the thickness. Brook by Chocolate Brownie. Hey, yo, I love all the Kell Brook fans. Where the hell y'all been? You know what I'm saying? I've been rocking with Brook for years. Yo, man, I'm not saying that he's not a big guy. Kell Brook is a big guy. He's a strong guy, too. I don't take that away. I just think that Bud now is just as big and just as strong, and that's a problem. If Bud felt like he can step in there with dudes who definitely look and seem bigger than him, and he still steps to them with this attitude of, I'm pushing you around, that means Kell Brook is going to have to bring that super dog out of him and be willing to go there. And the problem is, if Kell Brook is willing to go there with Bud and be aggressive and get dirty with him, how long can you sustain it? That's the question. If you fall into the trap with Bud and saying, you know what, you want to push me, then I'm going to push you. You want to tussle with me, I'm going to tussle with you. You want to throw hard shots, I'm going to throw hard shots. Fine. But can you still do that in rounds 9 and 10? Can you still do that in round 11? Can you still do that down the stretch? Because Bud has shown us in many fights that he can. So this is the reason I say Bud may just come out aggressive just to push him early. It's a dangerous strategy. It's a risky strategy, but it's damn sure a strategy that can pay off. And it's damn sure a strategy that Terence Crawford is capable of executing. You know what I'm saying? Real spill. The hip hop underworld in the building. What's up, family? Brook is good for the first 6 rounds only. If Bud can survive the onslaught, it's easy pickings in the end. That's what we all figure. I told that's how we got the fight made up in our minds. I agree. I think that we talk. You say 6 hip hop underworld, right? I'm saying 3 to 4. I say after 3 to 4, Bud gets tired of playing games. I say after 3 to 4, Bud, it may be premature. It may not be the right thing to do, but I think honestly, I'm telling y'all, Bud is going to have it in his head. I got to put some hurting on him. I got to put some work on him. I can't let him cruise. I can't let him be on that back foot, comfortably throwing his pull counter, just constantly moving. I think Bud is going to recognize after about 2 or 3 rounds, I'm not going to let him stay comfortable. Now, Brook is telling everybody he is not going to let Bud stay comfortable. He's saying that from the opening bell, he's going to go right at Terence Crawford. The strategy that I'm speaking of, Kell Brook has actually said that he's willing to do. Will that help or hurt him? Will that help or hurt? Like my man Hip Hop Underworld right here just said. Down the stretch, it's going to be something to think. You come out early, come out guns blazing. Will that help or hurt Kell Brook in the second half of that fight? And I hope Kell Brook don't come with a 6-round strategy. I swear I hope he don't come with a 6-round strategy. Boxing Brain says Bud and 9. Bud and 9. I think I'm right there with you, fam. Boxing Brain says Bud and 9. You mean that means that Bud gonna get to work early. That means Bud gonna get to work about 3 or 4. I can see it. I can see it. I see him back. I see Bud in his rhythm by rounds 5. Rounds 5, I see him totally in rhythm, feeling himself. Maybe even, doing the poking the tongue out thing, walking down Kell Brook, eating some leather. And we're gonna sit back and go, ooh and ah. We're gonna see some right hands land on Bud. And I'm dying to see how he take these right hands. But I just think that it's just gonna come down to Bud grinding him down. Just grinding him down slowly but surely, putting that workload on him, keeping the jab on him. Most importantly, tussling with him. Tussle with him. Get in close quarters, push him, grab him, fling him around the ring a little bit, intimidate him, let him feel your strength and power. That's one of the things that intimidated Jeff Horn from the opening bell with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford immediately set the tone that you are not going to bully me around this ring, champ. You can try all you want. You push me, I'm pushing you back. And that's what Kell Brook may look to do. But how would that hurt or help him down the stretch? You know what I'm saying? He ran from Postal, says Mike Ryan. Mike, you killing me, bro. He ain't run from no Postal. He dominated Postal. Easy work. It's more than one way to skin a cat, man. There's a lot of strategies out here. You do the one that's most effective to work. You ain't got to please the crowd every single time. You go in there and get the job did. You know what I mean? And he went in there against Victor Postal and got the job did. The question is, Mike, why did Danny Garcia skip the division when Terence Crawford got there? Riddle me that. Because he fought Lamont Peterson at a catchweight. He could have stayed there maybe a couple more fights, right? He didn't go directly to 147. He went to 144. And he ran to 144 when Bud got there. Why did that happen? Does anybody ever ask themselves that question? Oh, man, Danny Garcia was on his way to welterweight. He wasn't there yet, man. He wasn't big enough for welterweight. He wasn't brave enough for welterweight at that point. He was brave enough for 144. So he could have stayed there and seen what was up with Bud. Bud came into the division as the de facto number one. De facto, even though technically he wasn't. So what happened with Danny? Why did he skip the division? Anybody ever wondered that? He gave Postal a boxing lesson. Didn't even get touched. Facts. I don't know what Mike talking about. Mike just making up stuff, man. Come on, man. Sheldon, what's up, fam? What's up, man? Mainman, salute. Bud about to whoop the piss out of Kell Brook all day. I'm with you, fam. I'm with you. Yeah, hey, Sheldon Holmes see that dog up there, bro. He felt that energy. I felt it, man. I felt it. And I think Bud gonna be going out there with something to prove. He's gonna say, PBC, my contract is up. This is why y'all got to throw me the big bucks. He's gonna say Top Rank. My contract is up. This is why y'all got to throw me the big bucks, because I just dominated the man who just was in the best shape of his life. They say the man went to 2-3 countries to train. You know what I mean? He bucked his promoter. He bucked his network. He did it all. He went through and I just got this guy up out of here. Y'all gonna have to see me. Y'all gonna have to see me. How was his TKO by round 10? Facts. I like that. I ain't gonna say facts, but I like that. I like that call. Bud Crawford fan, ran from Postal is hilarious. He schooled Postal all day. You know what I'm saying? All day. Man, it was easy work. You know what I'm saying? Easy work. And I always tell people that Postal was perceived as the number one guy in the division after he beat Lucas Matisse on paper. Because people always argue me down with this. On paper, he was. The de facto number one was Bud, though. He was just moving up. But on paper, it was technically Victor Postal. So I always ask the question, has Earl Spence ever beat the number one of a class? Riddle me that. It's going to be like Bud versus Diaz. Yep. The Olympian that he gets no credit for. The Olympian that everyone says, well, who did Bud fight? When we say Diaz, it's like, who? Felix Diaz. What? Yeah, he's an Olympian. He don't get no credit for that. Yeah, it's going to be a one-sided affair. You think? I don't think it's going to be a one-sided affair. I think that if I had to go, I'm gonna make a call on this. I'll make the call tomorrow. But I don't see it as a one-sided affair. I do see Kell Brook having his minor successes through the fight, and I do think Kell Brook is going to come to fight. I do. I just think that the physical limitations on Kell Brook is going to come into play. It's not saying that Kell Brook is a bad fighter. It's not saying that Kell Brook is anything less. You know what I mean? It's just that I believe that his Achilles heel is too much of an issue, and that's fading. Fading is too much of an issue with Kell Brook. And you cannot fade like that against a guy like Terence Crawford. And I also think that Crawford's going to come out here and look to put some hurting on Brook. Oh no, man. Somebody might say a prayer for my man Kell, man. Yo, Brook only goal is to survive longer than Khan. That's a terrible ass goal, bro. That's a terrible goal, man. I hope that ain't the case. If he come in here just to outlast Khan and then, roll into the sunset with an Amir Khan fight in the end, that's a bad thing, bro. That's a bad thing, man. Well, what's up with you, William? What's going on, fam? If Brook get past 6, he is doing well. See, there it is. William just gave it to you right there, Ron Boy Fresh. That's the goal. Brook will live to fight another day. And I hope he do. I like Kell Brook. You know what I'm saying? Kell Brook still gives hell to a lot of fighters in the game. And who knows? He has a very good chance on winning this fight. I'm not counting him out. Don't please. If y'all heard me talking about him last week, y'all know I'm not counting him out by far. By far. And it's going to be interesting early. I just think that Bud's going to be too much, man. Too much to prove. Too strong. Too acclimated. Now fully acclimated as a welterweight. We're not talking about Terence Crawford first fight, 2017. No, fully acclimated at this point. He's walking around in the 150s. And, you know, he's up there with them now. He rehydrating just like they rehydrating now. It's going to be a problem. I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling y'all. Muhammad Ali said, Sheffield Steel City, stand up. Come on, Kell. He did it before. He's done it before. Please don't make him do it no more. Can Kell Brook make lightning catch lightning in a bottle twice? Can he do it? Man. He came over here the first time by himself against Sean Porter, and he got it done. That was a different time. That was a different Brook. That was Brook with two good eyes, haven't been through the fires, haven't been through the wars and the rumors of wars. That was a different Brook, and he still faded in that fight. I don't know, y'all. How can we talk about Kell Brook at 147 without talking about him fading? How can we do it? And as long as you as a boxing fan know Kell Brook fades, how the hell can you sit back and say, well, bro, it's just going to be tough down the stretch for him. I can't see him winning. I don't know, man. What you got for me, Mike? Bud is not big enough to weigh him down without taking consequential punishment with that 10 chin. Bud does get touched by right hands. I'm not going to deny that, bro. Bud gets touched by right hands all through. And it ain't just limited to one fight. To my Crawford fans out there, it ain't. There's several fights. Several fights I've witnessed Bud getting touched with the right hand. A little too easy for my liking. A little, especially in the Benavidez fight, a little too easy for my liking. And that is one of Kell Brook's best punches. The 1-2, the right hand, the pull counter that he throws the right hand behind. That's one of his best punches. And I don't want to see Bud get hit with that joint too many times. Bud better have that IQ blazing and buzzing to know if I'm getting touched with that right hand, I better scoot this way. If Kell Brook is landing that right hand at will, Bud is in for a long night. I don't see it. I see him making the adjustment. I'm going to say that right now. I see Bud making the adjustment. But if he's getting hit with that right hand too consistently, it's going to be a long night. And if he starts to time that right hand, even down the stretch where he doesn't have to put so much work in, just stand his ground and wait for Bud to come on up in there and tag him with a right hand. If we get to that kind of fight, that's interesting. That's interesting, but I don't see it. I don't see it. But he was never dropped by a low-class fighter. Come on, man. Put them shades on, homie. Crawford in a hell of a lot of trouble. I hate to say it, from Trenton, New Jersey. Yeah, I mean, look, man, I hear you. I think you're going by some of the things you remember for Kell Brook for being. I just think that there's a lot of things you overlooking, Mike. You overlooking that Kell Brook got a fading problem. You overlooking that Kell Brook ain't been at the class in 3 years. All because he's had one supposedly great training camp. You can't overlook these things. Yes, and I'm not going to overlook the fact that Bud does get hit with a right hand. Yes, I'm not going to overlook the fact that Bud has to always get his lick back. You hit me, I got to hit you 3 times. But that getting your lick back thing, it may prove detrimental in a lot of fights. But I think in this fight, you're talking about something different. I think Bud jumping on Kell Brook is just, I think that's the right way to go. You got to push Brook. You got to see what he got left in his mental. And if he got nothing left, it's over. And if he fades, it's over. And all of these things require Bud to be pressing Brook. If he can't live up to those obligations, it's over. If he fades, I'm telling you. And if the right hand ain't working, it's over. But if it is, it's a long night. But I think, I'm sorry, man. Bud gonna make that adjustment, man. Good head movement. I think he'll bounce to the outside. He'll start working behind the jab, and he'll slow it down a little more. And he'll start to watch for Brook's right hands. If he gets into that slow down jab mode and just fighting him in the middle of the ring, I still see Bud outboxing him. I mean, I don't know, man. To be honest with you, that's when it really does become a 50-50 fight. That's what Kell Brook will have the best shot if he turns Bud into the boxer. If he turns Bud into the boxer, if he makes Bud honest with those right hands, if he makes Bud honest with those right hands, we got a problem. That's a possibility. It is. I said that last week, but I just don't see it, bro. I just don't see it. Bud is the best welterweight, hands down. DGO in the building. What's up, family? Yes, sir. Yeah, you know me, bro. You know that's how I feel. Ain't no until somebody prove it otherwise. You already know I'm right there with you. You know what I'm saying? Bud has been looking like a monster on his training sessions. But that's why no PBC divas wanted that smoke. Well, guess what? They're going to have to. If Bud walk across the street when his contract is up, hey, we'll see what it is. And, you know, I'm going to tell y'all something because I'm going to have cats like Mike up in this joint. I'm going to have Mike in here talking about some Mainman. Bud ducked that smoke from the other side because he didn't sign that PBC contract. Look, man, I'm going to tell y'all right now. It's about economics at the end of the day. Don't get caught in the boxing hype that we talk here on YouTube. It's still the rubber got to meet the road. It's still bills got to be paid. It's still to the highest bidder. I think that's the reason that Terence Crawford stayed there as long as he has. Now, he has a $3.5 million guarantee over there with ESPN. That's beautiful. Can he earn that over there with PBC? Absolutely. 100%. He could probably earn more with a lower guarantee, truth be told. That's how they get paid on the other side. We clown them a lot about, oh, they're only getting 1 point this and 1 point that as their guarantees, which is facts. But yet on the back end, the mysterious back end money, because they always fighting on pay-per-view, we don't know what they really getting. And they also have promotional imprints. Bud, you may like to have a Bud Crawford Promotions. I don't know. You may want that. That sounds real good to you, don't you? It's funny. PBC fighters got that shit. I'm just saying. Like Bomac, do they? I don't even know the name of their state. I think they got the name for it. I mean, I got to research it. But it would be nice to have a Bud Crawford Promotions now, wouldn't it? That's another check. That's how the PBC get down. That's how they get down. So I'm just saying. I would like to see Terence Crawford walk over there, but if he don't, he's going to look at economics. And if he say, I made this decision because they offered me the best package, regardless of how y'all fans feel. I know y'all want Earl. I know y'all want Danny and yada, yada, yada. But hey, they just offered me a guarantee of, I don't know, $4.5 million a fight. I'm staying my ass right here. Can we blame them? There's no one in boxing getting a guarantee like that. No one. A $4.5 million guarantee every fight, no matter if I fight on pay-per-view or not. But then Bud also got to think about this. Legacy-wise, can I still make that and still have a great legacy if I go over there and fight these dudes? As a boxing fan, don't get it twisted. I want to see him go to PBC. I don't have no allegiances to none of these outfits. I can give a damn when we fight for. Fact, truth be speaking, I just want to fight. And I know the easiest route to those fights is for him to go to PBC. It's not I choose PBC over these guys. And yes, to anyone that's wondering, if he goes to PBC, is he guaranteed to get those fights? And the answer is no. We don't know when he might get the fights. It sounds good. We hope that he would get the fights. We see Sean Porter #1 in the WBO and say, yo, if he goes to PBC, it makes sense. Sure. But that ain't guaranteed. Look how long it took them dudes to mix it up. Look at it. Keith Thurman really still ain't fully in the mix. I don't even know what he's doing. He playing his flute over on Mount Helena somewhere. I don't know. So my deal is, it's not a guaranteed thing, but it does put him closer. And it does make every possibility probable with no politics. I mean, us being that close is worth it. As a boxing fan, I want to see him make that move. What y'all talking about? Bud says he's moving up after this fight. Yeah, they talking. It's all tactics. If he did say that, he's just saying it to let the other side know, like, you know, I ain't paying y'all no attention. I heard Earl Spence say the same thing. I heard Earl Spence say something to the effect of, if Bud doesn't, if we don't fight in 2021, then I'm gone up and it ain't happening. You know, I heard that too. And then Bud is running down the road of, I don't need Earl Spence to have my legacy and this, that, and the third. Let me say this, fam. And this is where me and the rest of the fam, we kind of go split. I disagree. Now, is Bud Crawford in the Hall of Fame for being undisputed 3-division weight champion, pound for pound, all that, SP winner, the whole 9? Cool. That's great. You get in there, you slide in there, cool. That's cool. But who's going to talk about you? Who's going to remember you even got in there? I ain't saying it to be funny, fam. But the fact of the matter is every yin needs a yang. Every Joker needs a Batman. I've said this a million times. Every Tom needs a Jerry. Bud, you need a villain. And your villain is right there. You can't walk away from your villain. I don't know where you get this notion from that you can. You can't. You don't walk away from a rivalry. One of your rivalries already went stale, and that's Danny Garcia. Danny didn't want no smoke, so the whole shit then went stale. No one talks about it. No one even cares that the fact that these two are 1-1 in the amateurs and have settled nothing in the pros. No one cares. No one cares. So that's gone stale. No, you need this right here. You need your moment, bud. Your moment, the undisputed moment was good. But the Earl Spence moment can be great. There's a difference. Let me say that one more time. The undisputed moment was good. It was. And we're going to remember you for being a full belt holder. Great. Julius Ndongo, off the hook. But the Earl Spence moment is bigger. That's bigger. It's just the way it is. And regardless of how it's bigger. You need it. You need that story for your grandkids and your grandkids to say that granddad went up against the number one, the guy that they thought was the biggest man in the division and the number one cat of the division. And he was this and he went in there and he stepped to him like a G and he finished him. That's the story you want to tell, bud. You don't want to tell the story of woulda, coulda, shoulda. Trust me on that one. You don't want to tell that story. You don't want to miss your glory call, bruh. You don't want to miss your glory call. You better take advantage of this. And yes, you do need Earl Spence Jr. At this point, y'all both need each other. And it ain't going to be no easier or no prettier for Earl Spence Jr. to walk up to 54 and act like you ain't right there. That ain't going to happen either. You need each other. And y'all can stop faking like you don't. Because what y'all can bring, what y'all make happen together is something special. I got Denise in the building. What's up, Queen? What's going on with you? I believe Bud is staying with Top Rank. Okay, I can see that. Like I say, it's about economics, Denise. You know, if they might offer him a bag, $4.5 million. They're gonna have to, according to Bob Arum, he's saying that he's indicating that Bud is gonna want more money. And this is the reason why he says he's floating around the Earl Spence and Manny Pacquiao fight. Now, I'm sure, you know, Bud has been around Bob long enough. He's heard it all before. You dig? He's been promised Manny Pacquiao for decades, it feels like. He's been promised Earl Spence Jr. since forever. What can you do different, Bob, in 2021 that you haven't did in 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017? What can you do different? You going to call Al this time around? What are you going to do different? What can you do that's so different? Because we see you pulling Tyson Fury away from Wilder. What are you going to do so different? How do you going to, here's the question with Bob. How are you going to go forward and want to do business with Crawford and Spence when you are frying PBC with Wilder or take that back, attempting, because y'all already know what I believe. I believe the fight still's on. But you are attempting to fry PBC by pulling out Tyson Fury. And you want to go forward and do business with Al Heyman and PBC. Well, you know, it's just business. One thing shouldn't have nothing to do with the other. No, it does. It's called ruining relationships, champ. Just like, you know, and the sad part is that Top Rank and PBC had not far away from repairing their relationship. They are long away from the days when Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya was suing Al Heyman. We far from those days. And then we thought that the relationships were healing. And then you come around and dump a whole can of gasoline back on the fire. And then you want to turn around and say, oh, can we do business with Crawford and Spence? They're going to be looking at you like, hell no. And these are something that Crawford needs to consider. Look at how your promoter's doing business. He needs the other side for your future. Is he going to be able to deliver by poisoning his relationship with the cats across the street? Is he going to be able to deliver? That's something that Bud got to ask himself. You know what I'm saying? Real spill. Earl also said that That was his toughest fight, Kell Brook. That tells you something. Facts. Kell Brook is a hell of a fighter, bro. Look, just because I'm picking Bud, I'm trying to tell everybody, just because I'm picking Bud or I'm leaning on Bud on this particular video, doesn't mean that I'm counting Kell Brook out by far. I got a ton of respect for this man. A ton of respect. And he very much well has more, I repeat, more than a puncher's chance on beating Terence Crawford. So, of course, I respect this man. I just don't think his physical limitations will allow him. I just think he's going to fade. I think he's going to get touched up. I think he's going to start asking himself questions throughout the fight. I think Bud is going to turn it up another level when he see him start whimpering too much. I think Bud is also going to take risks, and that risk can either pay off or go south for Bud. Bud puts himself in harm's way with that right hand. It can go bad. Sure. But Bud fighting for a contract. He has no more. He has to impress right now. He wants that guarantee money to go up. Bud knows a stoppage right here does a lot of good for him. And most importantly, Bud's dog is hungry. Ain't been fed in a while. Ain't been fed in a while. Down to see it. Down to see it. GG say, yo, man, Crawford chin is suspect. Crawford chin is suspect. Brook is going to test it. When people say Crawford chin is suspect, riddle me this. How many times has he been knocked down in his long, illustrious career for a suspect chin? Riddle me that. You're going to say, Mainman, Kalbaluskis, he dropped Bud. He dropped, but then after that, I tell you, Bud didn't win a second of the Kalbaluskis didn't win a single second of that fight after the supposed dropping. Then I asked you to go back through Bud's career. You show me anyone else that's dropped them, stopped them, any of that. He got a suspect chin. You got nothing. You got nothing. That's like me saying Earl Spence Jr. got a suspect chin. I've seen him get touched here and there, but I've never seen him touch the canvas. Never. I doubt it. Bud's 33 years old. Somebody should have dropped him by now if his chin was suspect. I got the Lawrence Williams in the building. And to anybody that want to pull up, man. Yo, I got time, man. Yo, if y'all want to get on, holler at the homie. You already know. Anybody, matter of fact, let me do this right now. Anybody, feel free to come join me. You know what I'm saying? Anytime, come on up here. Say a good word for the fam. You know what I'm saying? Let me put this in the chat. You know what I mean? Don't let me get none of you lunch boxes on here. If you fam, you get access much, much faster. You know what I'm saying? All day. Any of y'all, come holler at me, man. Give me y'all take on this. You know what I'm saying? Any of y'all, pull up, pull up, pull up. Feel free. Pull up. You know what I'm saying? Now, back to this. Back to this. Muhammad Ali says, Kell, please don't take a knee and go out on your shield. Yeah. That would not be good. If he does that, he's finished. He's finished. No one's going to want to see him. He'll hide from the public. He'll duck. He'll dodge. I don't even know if the Amir Khan fight will lure him out of his hole. That would be embarrassing. Cannot take two knees in your career. Can't do it. Got to go out on your shield. And that's messed up, but it is what it is. Bud Chin is so suspect that he never touched the canvas. Gotcha, Slim. Took the words right out of my mouth, bro. If he dealt with the pressure of Porter and almost survived, the pressure of Spence, what the hell is Twiggy going to do? You worry about his chin. Remember, he was dropped by the machine garbage man. I want to see them get in there with the machine garbage man. I want to see Kalbaluskis get in there with the other dudes and see how this all work out, because y'all like to crap on him, just like y'all do Gary Russell Jr. I would love to see the rest of these cats deal with King Tug. I'm dying to see it. Everybody like, oh, who's he beat with King Tug? Fine. Let's see who. I love to see how these cats deal with JoJo Diaz. Same way with here. So I would love to see Danny Garcia versus Kalbaluskis. I would love to see Sean Porter versus Kalbaluskis. You know what I mean? I know it's Kalbaluskis. But y'all know where I'm going. I love to see it. And we can get a real measure. And see if they can stop this man. This man was an Olympian. Everybody going off that Ray Robinson fight. You know what I'm saying? Real spill, man. Stormy, oh, my man, Stormy B, man. Matter of fact, forget all that. Let's put him on a panel. What's up, family? What's up with you, man?
What's going on with you, man? How you doing, bro?
Man, much love to you, Stormy B, man. I appreciate you coming on rocking with me, family. What's up, man?
I have to come over here where the love for Bud is, man.
No,
I know
you
that
know it.
sounds kind of weird, but hey, man, I'm feeling you on what you're saying about this, though.
Yeah, give me
There's a
your take
lot of
on this, Stormy. How do you see him and Kell working out, man?
I see it like this, and I actually did something on it today. I see it as it's a great welterweight fight for Bud to really establish himself for those who have been questioning, you know, whatever regarding since he's moved up. Because Kell is a legitimate welterweight and a former welterweight champion. And regardless of the injuries he sustained or whatever, he's still competing in the sport. And if he were to go out there and beat every guy he fought next by KO or beating him down, people wouldn't even talk about any injuries he may have had or whatever. So you have to look at it with the level playing field. If he's in there, he's okay to go. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And so for Bud, the thing is, I think he's going to look at him just like he looked at Amir Khan.
Mm.
And he looked at them both. Well, I should say definitely when he looked at Khan, he heard all the talk. You remember early on, people were saying, "Oh, this might be a trap fight for Bud." Khan got hand speed. I could see Khan outboxing him for 8 or 9 rounds, and Bud catching him late. Man, Bud had him on the ground in the first round. Man.
Agreed. Agreed. And Bud in that situation, it was just a matter of time before he got Khan up out of there, man. Just a matter of time. You
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
it was good. It was a smart thing that Virgil Hunter was chosen by Khan in that fight because Virgil let Khan off the hook. He saved him by, you know, Khan wanted to quit, and
Mm-hmm.
Virgil gave him an out. Had that been someone else, they may not have been able to define the moment that Khan got that yellow streak. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you saw Khan after the fight, I'm talking about the post fight when they went back there and talked to the press. He looked like he had been taken out in the alley and worked over by somebody.
Damn. Yeah, that's how
But
it always go when they start healing up. You see the marks start coming up then, right?
exactly, because what I'm saying is Bud was hitting that guy. And
Mm-hmm.
see, the consensus was going in, he should be able to outbox Bud early. But Bud
Mm-hmm.
got to him early because he heard everybody talking and he
Right.
sent a message. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's the same thing for this fight. And what's really interesting is this. Khan has the balls to get in there with people, right? Even though he may not have a chance or whatever. But Kell Brook actually thinks he can win this fight. And that's even better for Bud because he
Mm-hmm.
relishes challenges.
Yes.
And he has something that a lot of the champions of today don't have. He has that little bit of competitive edge within him. It kind of harkens back to guys that I remember from the late 80s and the early to mid 90s, the Holyfields and the Pernell Whitakers and stuff like that. It's like those guys were always, there was always to the media and everybody else, there's always somebody that was better than them. Oh, but you're good, but you're not that guy. You're not. So they would just constantly, continuously go in there and beat people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Holyfield did it. Sweet
Mm-hmm.
Pete Whitaker did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Bud has that same type of competitiveness within him. He's not a talker. He's not
Mm-hmm.
going to be a guy that's going to go out there grabbing the microphone saying this, that, and the other. But you could tell by the way he fights in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I've rarely seen Bud digress, meaning that when somebody come at him feeling like, oh, I'm going to stop you, and I'm so, I'm going to bring this noise to you. He never backs down away from that. He actually embraces it and rises to the occasion and go above and beyond. And that's why, like what you're saying, by Kell Brook coming up to Bud and telling him, oh, I'm going to stop you, I'm going to do this. It's going to trigger something in Bud that say, okay, I got to up that. I got to go above that, like he did with Khan. Like you said, Khan came out, he had all this talk, and Khan was going to outbox him. And what the talk at the time was, Khan has never been outboxed at welterweight, and he's had outboxed everybody at welterweight, and he was undefeated at welterweight. Well, Bud knew that going in, just like you said, and he didn't allow him to get on that and get into that rhythm. And I'm with you 100%. I think that he looks at Kell Brook and he sees the exact same thing. Like, hey, okay, well, you're saying you're gonna come in here and stop me, and you're gonna bring all of this pressure to me. Cool. Then that means I'm gonna bring it back to you and take it to the next level. That's just who Terence Crawford has always been.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, like I said, we're living in a different time. See, you're old enough to know these things, but we're living in this different time where, you got social media, you got Twitter and everything. Most of these guys, that's where they do the bulk of their fighting, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
not in the ring. They
Nah.
they want a war with you saying, "Hey, I got more fanfare than you," and all of that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But the Bud is cut from a different cloth. You have to realize this man was shot in the head and
Yes.
drove himself to the hospital.
Facts. Yep.
You
Exactly.
see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It takes a certain kind of mentality. He was raised by a mother who was paying guys in the neighborhood to kick his butt.
Damn. He was brought up hard, bruh. He was brought up hard.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Now, I'll tell you another fighter who was brought up like that, but it wasn't the mom that did that.
Mm-hmm.
It was the dad, Roy Jones Jr.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You see?
Put him through the grinder like that young and
Yep.
made him tough as he got older. It stuck with him. It grew in him.
Yep.
You know
See,
what I'm
now
saying?
Roy, what happened with him was that he had that extreme athletic talent. It couldn't be touched with that. But he had the same type of temperament, but he based everything he did within his athleticism. It wasn't so much, but Bud is skilled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He has a different sense of that. But again, that upbringing, it does something to you. It gives you more of a constitution. When Kavalauskas got the flash knockdown, let's just face it, that's what it was.
A
It was a
flash
flash
knockdown.
knockdown.
Right. It
Okay.
happens. It happens.
It can happen to anybody. A lot of the great champions have gone through their career and touched the canvas at least once.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
what happened in the Kavalauskas fight was what happened when Bud got up. For the
And that's
rest
what
of
I
that fight, and when he took him out, you could actually when he dropped Kavalauskas that first time, you could see the look on his face when he got up, like, oh snap, I done woke up a sleeping giant here.
right.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
Bud took him out. And Kavalauskas is not a bum. We did not know a lot about him
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, but I've seen some tape of him, and saw his last couple of fights. This man is strong.
A lot
You
of people
know,
went off the Ray Robinson fight. They saw that Ray Robinson fight right before he fought Crawford, and he went to a draw with Robinson. So a lot of
right?
people drew a conclusion on Kavalauskas from that particular fight. But I'm like you, man. I mean, I think Kavalauskas is a decent fighter. He's an Olympian, and I love to see him square off with a lot of the cats on the other side, see how they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really. But the thing that I relish so much is we have a fighter that people have said they don't mind seeing Bud in the ring with. So that's going to get his competitive juices going too, because
Mm-hmm.
everybody is putting him like he's less than who the other champ is. Well,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have to put on a show. And typically, guys of that ilk have a way of showing their mettle. You know what I mean? And I don't
Yeah.
think he'll disappoint in this instance. Plus, he knows that Earl is fighting, shortly after him,
Yes.
and he's going to be sending a message.
Absolutely. He got something to prove. And not to mention this is his last, well, at least according to Bud, he got months left on his contract with Top Rank. So he's at a pivotal moment in his career where showing and proving is really important right now. I mean, he comes out with a dominant performance over Kell Brook, and the world is almost his oyster. He can pick and choose what he wants to do. How do you feel about Terence Crawford maybe deciding on whether or not he should go to PBC
Well, the answer is
at this moment in his career?
at at this moment, it would be a great move for him to do so, because then that makes everything easier going forward for the fights that he says that he wants after this.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned Manny Pacquiao. Manny is over there with the PBC. So it's like that's an easier fight to make as long as you're over there. There's Al Heyman ain't gonna stop it, from happening. He'd advise those guys get it on and make that money. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. It will also stir the pot for who's really gonna put up or who's gonna shut up. Because all of that talk about, any of these guys can make the fight anytime they want to,
Yeah,
because all you got to do is go to your people and say, I want this fight.
exactly.
You understand? It can be made, regardless
Yep.
of where they say, oh, we don't think it's going to make that much money. Dude, it can happen.
But I do think it'll be a little bit harder going forward if this Wilder and Fury situation plays bad. I don't know how much that may hurt Bud going forward, trying, Bob Arum doing business with PBC and how that relationship is going to all be in the end. I hope it doesn't hinder that. But would you blame Bud for making an economic decision? Meaning that this is the better package, the better financial package.
I don't think it's about money with Bud. I really don't. Because he got a deal that he wanted and he was happy with thus far. The next step is legacy now. You see? And that's what I think with him. The 4 fights that he named was, this fight, then Pacquiao, then Spence, then Garcia.
And that's all on the other side. And that's all over at PBC.
And he didn't mention Porter. He says he's friends with Porter, but Garcia and he have a history from the amateurs.
Right.
And Spence is supposed to be the big legacy fight for him. And Pacquiao is a legend fight with a big bag for him. So it's not a bad roadmap to really look at. Earl has his fights lined up, what he would like to do. Why can't Bud have the same? You know what I mean?
I agree.
And people penalize him. Remember, there is so much similarity to him, fighters like him and like Sweet Pea. It's unbelievable. Do you remember when Sweet Pea was winning fights that he had a series of fights where he fought like 4 or 5 fights in a row and he only lost like 3 rounds in those fights? It's like that's how dominant he was. And they were saying that he was number 2 pound for pound behind Julio Cesar Chavez. That was crap. He was always ahead of Cesar Chavez because he was a better fighter.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
And when they fought each other, Don King did everything he could to level that playing field, having it in San Antonio at the Alamo Dome, all of that stuff, and made certain that there was not going to be a rematch. And you had to also understand that Don had the judges in his pocket. So they couldn't just rob him outright by giving him a Chavez a decision over him. So they make it a draw. Come on, he beat the man.
I mean, come on.
Then Chavez turns around and gets dropped in his next fight and beaten by Frankie Randall.
Yeah, I definitely gave it. I gave that fight to Sweet Pea all day, man. They that's when during the time and they were robbing Sweet Pea left and right, man. And I definitely gave that Chavez fight to Sweet Pea all day.
But do you see, Mainman, the similarities of what I'm talking about? When you have a fighter like Bud, everybody is against him. Everybody is like, this is no different from what his mom was doing to him as a young kid. That's why he's comfortable in his own skin. That's why he's comfortable, because he's a man now. You think he's going to get upset because you picking the other guy? You think he's going to get upset because people mad that he don't want to do an interview or whatever? Man, this guy, you know what? He goes in there, goes about his business. And guess what? Nobody talks about this very much. He's stopped every welterweight that he's fought since he moved up.
Facts. He was 7, 8 fight knockout streak, 7 fight knockout streak,
7 fight knockout streak.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. That's why I consider him pound for pound number 1, because even though he's not been in there with, say, like the stellar competition he could have faced, I'm looking at him style wise and how his style is being pit up against these different styles, and he's just dominating these dudes. And that's the argument. Like you was just saying with Sweet Pea, much better fighter than Chavez, much better fighter. He could have many more tools in his body. His style versus many of the styles on that time, to me, it was Sweet Pea style was more dominant. Now, as for Terence Crawford, same thing. I mean, I like Earl Spence Jr. style, body first. Reminds me of a Marvin Hagler style type fighter. But at the end of the day, I think that Bud has so many adjustments, and he's shown us different things in front of many different styles, and he's always came out more dominant. And that's why I've always given him number 1 pound for pound, for that exact reason. You know what I mean?
And I got one more thing to add to that. Check this out. Kell Brook is like 5'8", 5'9",
Yeah, small.
and Bud is like 5'8".
Mm-hmm.
Brook has a 69-inch reach,
Yep.
and Bud has a 74-inch reach.
Whew, that's gonna be a problem.
That's going to come into play.
That's going to be a
That's
problem, bro.
going to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Absolutely.
why? Because Kell Brook is a basic boxer, got a good 1-2, right hand is strong and heavy, decent
Mm-hmm.
jab, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Bud is an elite boxer
Mm.
who does he can throw any punch in the book,
Yep.
but he can also switch.
Exactly. Yep. He makes the
Dude,
proper
that
adjustments.
takes him to a different level.
And I hate to say this about Kell because I am a fan of Kell, but I see the same Kell Brook every fight. I mean, honestly, he does the exact same 1-2, that same pull counter. He just knows how and when to use it. But that's the Kell Brook you're going to get. I've seen Bud box on the outside. I've seen Bud brawl on the inside. I've seen Bud set traps. I've seen Bud do many different things in the ring. And I look at Kell and I say, I can go back to as far as 2014 when he fought Porter. From 2014 to today, I see the same Kell Brook each and every fight. And I just think that there's more layers to Bud than it is to Kell Brook. And that's going to show in the fight. All of these layers are going to show.
Absolutely. And I'm excited for it because it's a legitimate welterweight that people will respect the fact that he's fighting the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I already have my feelings about him. I don't go around shaking pom poms, but I've always respected him and always had him very high in the sport. I remember the very first time I saw him fight. That was when he won his first title overseas. And I was like, who the hell is this young guy? Because I wasn't really following amateurs and stuff, so I didn't know about his background or whatever. I just saw him fighting on that undercard on HBO, and I'm like, I want to see this kid again.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, there's not a lot of fighters like that excite me in that manner, but he's never disappointed me.
Not once.
And even in fights where they're like, this is supposed to be a challenge for him or whatever, he's turned back those challenges like nothing. You know, but people still want to like point out he had a flash knockdown against Kavalauskas. And that flash knockdown, it was basically he went to his knee as he was reaching in trying to grab the guy. You know what I mean? And wrap him up. And he went to his knee. It wasn't like he got hit on the chin and got knocked on the seat of his pants.
No,
knocked off his feet.
That wasn't a flash.
Yeah. Just like when Spence hit Porter and his glove barely grazed the canvas.
Right.
Whereas when Zab Judah hit Floyd actually used his glove to steady himself to keep from going down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which is different. If you watch boxing, you know the differences with knockdowns and stuff. So people want to highlight that. Dude, that's nothing. But what you look at is what happened after that happened. You remember that movie, The Great White Hype?
The one that had Damon Wayans. Yeah.
Remember when he had the championship fight against the Irish dude and the dude cracked him a good shot and he was like, you trying to embarrass me on TV?
Yeah, exactly.
That was what Bud did to Kavalauskas. It was like when after that flash knockdown, he got up as if to say, you trying to embarrass me on TV? And he went for it.
He woke him up, man. That was that alarm clock ring. When you wake Bud up, man, you better be ready to kick it into the next gear, bro, because he ready. He coming square at you, man, square at you. But one thing I'm noticing is, and how do you feel about this, Stormy B, man? Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford. The reason I'm looking at this, I look at through the years. If there's one ally that Terence Crawford has always had in the public, believe it or not, it's been Floyd Mayweather. He has been the main dude. He's number one pound for pound. He's always given Bud his tremendous respect. Should Bud consider? I'm just saying consider, because Floyd Mayweather is a seller, which Bud isn't. Floyd Mayweather is a talker, which Bud isn't. Floyd Mayweather has access to put him against anybody on the PBC side. Should Terence Crawford consider maybe going into business with the Floyd Mayweather?
That is an interesting question because knowing Bud's temperament
Mm-hmm.
is not something that's likely.
Mm-hmm.
Business wise, it could work for him.
Mm-hmm.
As we saw with the Tank situation with the Santa Cruz fight, as long as Floyd puts, the promotion behind guys, it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna happen because he just happens to have that fire right now. It's like even though he's not fighting anymore or whatever, it's like whoever he would put his support behind or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
people will gravitate toward that. Floyd is a money trap right now. Is he? That's just the reality.
I
But
just think that
Bud,
every
it would.
door. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to say every
Mhm.
door that Bud wants open, far as big fights, far as notoriety and legacy, and most importantly, staying in demand front and center, he gets with Floyd. You don't think?
Yeah, Floyd can he can definitely make it happen. But I'll tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
It's ironic that you mentioned that about he and Floyd and what Floyd has said about him.
Mm-hmm.
A few years ago, when he was still eyeing a fight with Pacquiao, when they were both, in a situation where under Bob Arum and Top Rank, um, when asked about a possible fight with Bud Crawford for Manny,
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Roach at that time said, "I don't like that fight for Manny."
Yeah,
He
I remember
said
that.
because Manny at this point, a fighter like Crawford, he can do everything that Floyd could do. That went
Mm.
over a lot of people's heads
I remember when
because
Freddie said that.
that came out of Freddie Roach's mouth himself. He said, "I don't like that fight for
Mm-hmm.
Manny because Crawford can do everything Floyd could do."
Wow.
And when he said that, what that means that he's a master boxer.
Mm-hmm.
But what he didn't say was even more. He can do everything Floyd can do and switch.
Wow.
See, when you add that to the plate, you cannot deny the effectiveness of that because a guy can switch at any time. He can do it from round to round. He could do it within an exchange. He could do it, coming from behind. It's like there's so many advantages.
Right.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? To a
Absolutely.
guy doing it. And Bud's legs are not gone. He's
No.
the smart fighter that knows when to use his legs. See,
Absolutely.
that's the other thing. Remember, people were talking about Lara and how he was just moving unnecessarily so much
Yeah.
and everything. Well,
Mm-hmm.
as he aged, he couldn't move like that no more. So now he has to stand and fight guys and stuff like that. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Bud never wasted that. When he
Right.
fought Victor Postal, people thought that Victor Postal was supposed to be his toughest fight, and he
Mm-hmm.
went in there and totally dismantled the guy
Yep. Mm-hmm.
effortlessly, right? Now, people
Mm-hmm.
talk about the possibility of him and Spence and stuff like that. What makes you think he just going to stand there and trade with Spence? That
I don't
doesn't
think
make
so.
sense.
No way.
It doesn't make sense. But
No.
what he could do is set traps for Spence because Spence, although he's a tremendous offensive fighter, there's a little bit of a struggle transitioning from offense to defense with him. And when you got a guy who can move his feet, that can be a
Mm.
problem for you. And guess who was moving their feet very well against Spence?
Who's that?
Porter.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Porter was coming forward for the most part, though.
And he was giving him angles.
yeah.
And that was something Spence wasn't expecting. That's what made the fight a little bit closer. I'm not saying that Porter won, but I'm
Right.
saying it made the fight closer and more exciting. But Sean, he actually added that as a new wrinkle over the past couple of years. Pretty
We
much
seen
went
that.
from the Yodenis Ugas fight.
Yeah.
But Bud has been able to fight in that manner plus his whole life,
Mm-hmm.
which is a
Absolutely.
different type of fight.
He just doesn't have to use it all the time. I mean, we seen that evident in the Benavidez fight. Remember in the Benavidez fight, he was choosing to stand right there in front of Benavidez, and he was getting tagged with the right hands until he's decided, well, I noticed this guy ain't as mobile as me, so I'm gonna use my feet. When he incorporated that, man, it was a different Bud. he adapts that way. You know what that reminds? And see, Stormy, because I know you watched the Kung Fu movie, so I know you know about this. Remember in the Bruce Lee movie when he fought Chuck Norris, right? When they fought in the Coliseum. Now, Bruce was getting his butt kicked in the whole first half of that fight. And what I recall Bruce talking about that, he said that I wanted to show everybody that when I incorporate movement in my style, you get a different fighter. So he wanted to show everyone that his style with movement beats Kung Fu, which I believe Chuck Norris was like the Kung Fu champion at the time or something like that. So what he did, if you go back and watch that movie, he getting his butt kicked the whole first half. Then he stops, then he walk around and he thinks about it for a second. Then he starts to do this little bounce. Then the music starts playing and they focus on his legs and his feet. Then he starts to move on Chuck Norris and popping him and moving and popping him and moving. The ability to adjust like that mid-fight and to think that I can not only go into the inside and brawl with you and beat you up, but if I need to adjust and go to the outside, set the traps and lure you into big shots, I can do that too at the snap of a finger. That's Bud Crawford.
How about this? Yeah, I agree with that 1000%. But how about this? Since you mentioned that movie, and of course, you know I love my Kung Fu movies.
Yes, sir.
But I will say this. The other analysis from that fight, from that film, was this. Bruce was also showing something else. Do you know why Chuck was winning at first, besides the fact that Bruce changed his style and started being more fluid and moving? Do you know why Chuck was winning?
I'm more hand speed or skills or something.
No. He was American.
Okay.
He was a bigger man. He was a bigger man, and he was a stronger man. So how do you defeat the bigger, stronger guy? You have to be fast. You have to be mobile. And you have to, if he can hit you one time, you know he can punish you. But if you hit him 3-4 times, you can make him hesitant with your speed. Okay. Yes. So that's exactly what he did. Now, Bruce was very smart when he choreographed that, because he was teaching the masses of Kung Fu audiences at that time something that wasn't on screen before. Usually a Kung Fu film, these guys are fighting for moments at a time, 20 minutes, you know, for one fight.
Right.
Well, what he was doing was teaching and educating the viewing audience that there can be tempo in this type of action as well. And who did he get that movement from? Muhammad Ali. Bruce studied Muhammad Ali. He was a huge fan of Ali.
Yeah, and I can see it.
That's where that came from.
Wow.
You see, so remember, when you're talking about a fighter like Bud Crawford, you mentioned the Benavidez fight. What was interesting about that fight was in the second or third round, they were in close, and he threw this punch at Benavidez that missed. It was like the 45 punch, that right uppercut. What's interesting was when he threw that punch early in the fight like that, it missed by inches. I remember seeing it like it was yesterday watching this fight. That's the same punch he knocked him out with in the 12th round.
Nice.
Because he knew that late in the fight, the guy is tired. What a shot that might have missed by an inch or so early in the fight is more likely to land in the later rounds. So he got in close like that in that exchange again and threw the same shot. And that's the shot that hurt Benavidez, and then a couple of more follow-up shots that put him on the canvas. But it was the same punch that he threw early in the fight. It was like the second or third round. Go back and watch that fight. You will see it. It's the same punch that he knocked him out with late. That's ring IQ. Wow. That's a guy that's looking at his opponent saying, you know what, this might not be working now, but if I get the chance, I can come back to this later. And that's exactly what he did.
That consistency, man. That's sticking with it, consistency, and knowing that eventually I'm gonna close that 1 inch you just talked about, and it's gonna land, man.
See, that's like when George Foreman fought Michael Moore. Early in the fight, he was throwing punches at Moore, but he began to take power off his punches in the middle rounds. And Teddy Atlas was telling Michael Moore, This old man's trying to slow you down to his pace. He's like, you got to pick up the pace and move to your right, because Moore was a southpaw. He's telling Moore to move to Moore's right so he could stay out of George's right-hand path. So what George did, starting like in the 8th or 9th round, wisely, he started throwing these wide left hooks to keep Moore over toward his right hand. And Moore, a couple of those shots, they hit him on top of the head. You know, when Moore had that high guard, right? And he was blocking like that. But then he began to like slip under him. Like when George throw that wide hook, George was baiting him the whole time.
Nice.
And then when he threw the jab, like a 1-2, he threw it with nothing on the right, you know, making it appear like, oh, it's safe now.
Right.
Because he's tired. We're in the 10th round. It's safe. So George threw it 1-2, and Moore was like, that wasn't bad. That ain't nothing. And he stepped to George. And when George threw that second 1-2, that right hand, he put mustard on it. And it went right through his guard on his chin, put him down, knocked him out. And again, Michael Moore said that George, in the post-fight press conference, he says, oh, he got lucky. George said, I was setting that up the whole time. He said, I knew if I knocked him down early, he'd get up and run from me all night, like Tommy Morrison did and Axel Schultz did, right? So he didn't try to lay power on Moore early. He made sure that Moore would want to be there in the fight. That's ring IQ. That's boxing experience.
Facts.
And to this day, Michael Moore denies that George was able to set that up as effective as he did. But that's exactly what that was. It was a setup.
Damn, that's like playing possum. It's like you play possum with the right hand the whole fight, and then when he knew it was there and he seen it right there, he unleashed it. That's what's unleashed up, it. So let me ask you this, Stormy B, man. What do you think is Kell Brook's biggest detriment going into this fight? Meaning, he over here without his coach, he over here without his usual entourage or whatnot, and he pretty much by himself. I mean, do you think? What is his big? Is it the weight not being maybe not fighting at the weight in 3 years? What you think is going to be the biggest strike against Kell Brook going into this fight?
Thinking he's going to be bigger and stronger than Bud.
Nah, that can get him.
That's the pitfall that's going to be for him, because if he's going in there and he's thinking he's going to tie him up and lay his weight on him and stuff like that, Bud was an elite wrestler also. From his high school years and everything. So it's like, I mean, he really could have been maybe like on a I guess in wrestling, they have like Olympic type. He was that good. So he knows how to handle his body. See, and a wiry guys like that, look at Deontay Wilder, look at Tommy Hearns. They are a lot stronger than people think just because they thin, But that don't mean they don't have strength. And Bud has two types of strength. He has his physical strength, but he has his internal strength, his mental strength.
Nice.
And I don't think Bud has that. I mean, I don't think Brooks has that, because Brook has now quit twice.
Right. So something you think that's still in his head? You think that's still there?
Well, it's not that it's still in his head. You can make a guy revisit that when things get difficult.
Yeah. What do they call that? It's a word for that. Not. It's like a state of shock, if you will. Like he get hit too hard and he goes right back to that moment that he was in, maybe in the Golovkin or the Spence fight.
A flashback.
What's up, man? Hey, yo, man. Just let me take a second if I can. Yo, man, we got fam in the building. We got brother, man. We got my man Monty Brown TV, and we got my main man Boxing Logics United in the building. Salute to everybody, all fam in the building, man.
Peace out to Monty Brown. Peace out to Monty Brown. Peace out to my man Mainman, the DMV in the house. Who's the other cat?
That's Stormy B, man, right there, man. That is Stormy B, man. Real
salute,
live
brother. How you doing? Salute, Monty.
So
we about to cook now.
See,
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if the league was a free fall or if it was a 1-on-1.
Hey, Monty, you ain't even Monty. You already know, bro. You know what I'm saying? You ain't even got to say nothing. Just say link. You know what I'm saying? Just put the word link. That's it. That's all.
Yes.
So look, I got two cats in here that I know gonna give me some real good real spill right here, man. So I'm dying to hear y'all points of view on these questions. I'm gonna take it that we're gonna take it to Monty first, man. Let's kind of do this time so we won't talk over each other. But Monty,
let's get it.
Kell Brook, okay. What is his biggest detriment going into this fight? Like I just asked Stormy. Stormy says he believes that it's a false sense of size in a nutshell. Like it's a false sense of size, giving him a false sense of security. You know what I mean? So
I think it's gonna be the IQ, bro. I think the IQ. I think it's IQ because Kell was a prideful fighter, and I know what you said about like him because like you say, everybody turned their back on him. Eddie Hearn turned his back. His trainer turned his back. I think even half of the country probably turned their back on Kell and gave up on him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I feel like Kell coming in with the notion that he don't have nothing to lose and everything to gain in this fight, so he's gonna leave it all in the ring. But I think it's gonna be the IQ level because I don't think Bud, like Stormy say, he is gonna think he's physically stronger. I believe Brook is physically stronger than Bud. You know what I mean? And I think when Bud figured that out, it's gonna turn into that boxing match. And could you keep up with me? You know what I mean? And that's what I think it's gonna turn into a chess match. And that's what I think it's just gonna be. That's when Bud gonna shine on him. You know what I'm saying? Bud gonna shine on him because like I keep telling people, Bud put the work in. And even if you had 100% Kell Brook versus 100% Bud Crawford, Kell Brook can't beat Bud Crawford in my opinion.
So you think you saying that Kell Brook, that if he approached this fight with the sense that he has the better boxing IQ and get in there and try to get into, let's just say a straight up boxing match with Bud, do you think that's going to be detrimental? Because I want to know what do you think what does he think going into this fight that's going to work for him that you think is going to be surprised when he get there? He going to see that I can't do that.
The legs of Bud Crawford, him trying to keep up with him, because I believe Kell want to fight because Kell like to fight. He like to use his physicality on people. So I'm looking at it as like once to get in there and he see Bud, because I hope Bud be smart, because if he sit there and try to bang with Kell, he's gonna be in trouble a little bit. Because I don't think like for his punching power, I think Bud might have a little bit more snap, but for his physicality, like Stormy was talking about, I think in them clinches, Bud is a strong dude. Stormy, I don't take that away from him, but Kell is more physically strong in my opinion, and that's what I think Bud gonna switch it up. It's like, okay, you in the inside, you got your shot. Now I'm gonna make you think. Now you go play chess with me, and I think trying to keep up with Crawford is what's gonna be the downfall of Kell Brook. Him trying to keep up. I think he's gonna try to implement his game, but I think he's gonna try to play like, okay, you want to move, you want to box. If you try to sit there and box with him, I think it's gonna get bad for him, dog. And Bud go pick him apart. He go pick him apart.
Pick him apart. All right. Well, Boxing Logic United. Yo, man, tell me, what do you think is going to be the number one thing that Kell Brook is going to enter this fight thinking that he can do? And when he gets to that fight, he's going to get surprised and say that, I guess I can't do that. What is the biggest detriment that he's going to have going into this fight?
This is hard for me, honestly, because I honestly believe skill-wise, this is the best opponent Bud has ever faced.
Facts.
I mean, it's just the resume says it all. The resume says it all. This is a mentally 100% Kell Brook. And he might have gotten that with everybody, like the men said before, everything everybody's turned their back on him or given up on him. And the man up in the top right, I forgot his name, but he said it earlier. My question has always been the mental toughness of Kell Brook. Now, because last week I looked at those fights. I looked at the Golovkin fight. I looked at freaking Earl Spence again this week. Actually this week. And I was like, it's easy for us to question this dude's in toughness. And I made a video, I was on a live. I was like, yo, he was 4 minutes and 20 seconds for perhaps retaining his belt versus Earl Spence Jr. Although the cards said that Earl Spence was behind. But if you watch that fight versus Earl Spence Jr., you notice something really, really odd. It seemed like the UK commentators was more for Earl Spence Jr. than it was for Kell Brook.
Think of some bias over there in Sheffield.
I don't know what it is, dude. All I'm saying is, I don't know if the IBF, I don't know what the deal was. But go watch that fight and listen to the commentary. It literally sounded like more for Earl Spence Jr. almost than it did for Kell Brook. Real talk. And I was just like, wow, that's wild as hell. And looking at, and I'm an American. Don't get me wrong. I'm going for the American all the way. But, you know, I'm looking at this shit objectively, and I'm like, that's crazy, kind of. You know what I'm saying? It's but
like Brook didn't do himself no favors by taking that knee. If he could have just bit down, try to would he quit in the 11th? If he could have bit down and went one more round. Yeah, he didn't. But at the same time, I don't know how freaking throbbing his head is from each punch. And one thing, and why I also say that it seemed like Kell's side was against Kell. So it's because, you know what? You remember the low blows that Earl Spence Jr. was giving Porter? He was giving those shits to Brook. Now, we didn't shout that shit out or knock that shit out or point out that if in the Earl Spence fight versus Kell Brook. But if you go back and watch that fight, Earl Spence was low punching Kell Brook like shit, just as much as he was Sean Porter. And the referee didn't call nothing. And then I was looking at the referee during that fight. And in the later rounds, the referee was paying more attention to Kell Brook than he was Earl Spence Jr. Now, every time in the clinch, I do believe whenever they was in the clinch, Earl Spence Jr., one of the game plans is to keep hitting them up on the left, on his Kell Brook's right eye. Because that was the eye that was cracked versus Gennady Golovkin, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, now what I got to do, since you saying that, Myron, I want to have to give Stormy as well as Monty a chance to retort on that. I need to remind you.
Let me get to the point.
I just want to give you a heads up, though. I got Spence Nation. These two here in the building. You know what I mean?
I don't care. I'm just
saying.
I
wanted to be known. They got to retort on that. Y'all got to give me something on that, Stormy.
I don't mind a retort. This is just what I saw. All I'm talking of what I saw. This is not bias here. Because anybody.
No.
Right.
Not at all.
So what I'm saying is, I was like, damn, I was looking at a lot of things, and Spence had it seemed to me that Spence already had, it was like behind the scenes, people knew Spence had a machine, a marketing and a strong machine behind him more than Kell Brook. It seemed like he had more support behind him, or it looked like perhaps they wanted Spence to have that freaking belt. And don't get me wrong, I just did a video on Spence today. I rock with Spence. I admire his will and everything.
Right.
But it seemed like
hello? Myron, you popped out.
And there was a lot of things going on, but it was a hell of a fight. Now, like the man said earlier, if I question Kell Brook's mental toughness, I don't question Earl Spence's mental toughness. I think that motherfucker comes in every fight thinking to win, and he has a goal of becoming the most dominant pound-for-pound fighter of his era. You can see that with Earl Spence in the way he fights. It's everything. And Kell Brook, sometimes I've criticized of throwing too many meaningless shots and not enough shots with conviction in it. Well, he did in that fight, but he did throw a lot of pity pat. But I think if his eye, and this is the question, after that fight, he's had 3 fights, he's won. If his eye is completely like healed, if it's in the back of his mind, you feel me? Then I think this is going to turn out to be a very, very hell of a fucking fight. Real talk. And
I think 154 might have did that for him. He might feel like, hey, I got in there with 54 pounders. My eye held up. That could have gave him that confidence he needed going into this fight. You know what I'm saying?
It could, but then, but I think I see your boy Terence Crawford going to play on the mind games, and you saw that inside the press conference. We said, "Well, I never quit in the fight," and he the only one that did. So I was like, I saw Kell Brook, and I was like, that was nasty. And when Crawford stepped forward and Kell Brook gave a step back. I was like, I noticed that. And I was like, I don't know. So again, it's like we got to find out if Kell Brook really, watch this. That was a 2-minute stare down. I just did a video on it. Sean and Crawford stepped forward to test the aura of Kell, and Kell stepped slightly backwards. And I was like, So the thing is, I remember Dominic, I'm in it right here. I remember Dominic Ingalls said something versus the in the Earl Spence fight in the corner. It was like the 8th round or something. Right. And he said something in that corner. He said, yo, believe in yourself. And I was wondering, it's like, okay, do Kell Brook have Dominic Ingalls sense anything of lack of confidence in Kell Brook for him to say something like that? You feel me? For whatever he was saying. Good. He said that in his corner in the Earl Spence ring at 8th. And maybe it was because of his eye was already pained then. And remember during that freaking fight, his eye swelled up. It didn't went flat. So all that fluid and that swelling went down to the fucking face. I'm assuming his face was throbbing like a motherfucker. All right,
so
I'm gonna give him that pass.
Let me get Stormy Amani back in on the conversation.
Y'all guys go on. I'll put my mic on.
No, look, I'm
excited about this fight though, bro.
Hey, bro, I ain't mad at you. This is a hell of a fight. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be tough. And Earl,
but look, let me hold on. Let me get them in the conversation. All right, Stormy, let's come back to you. Let's come back to Stormy real quick. Stormy, now did you just hear what Boxing Logic United just said? Let's go back to that. Let's go back to that Earl Spence Jr. versus Kell Brook fight. And I know Monty loves that fight. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna watch that, Monty. But do you think that there was some sort of UK bias for maybe Earl Spence? Or did Earl Spence just do what he had to do? How do you feel about that fight, Kell Brook and Earl Spence?
I feel like I feel like there was something that I noticed about that too, but I thought it was the network more than anything. You know what I mean?
You think they was pro? You think that was
just
pro
my
Earl?
thought on it. I think it was the network, not so much his home city or hometown or whatever.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Okay, so all right. That's interesting. Now with Stormy, I definitely with Stormy, I want to get more X's and O's from you. Well, I asked you about Kell Brook, what you found to be his biggest detriment going into that fight. What do you think is Terence Crawford's? What do you think that Terence Crawford may or think that it's going to work for him that he should not do once he get into that ring with Kell Brook, and he maybe should reconsider and go a double route? What do you think that's detriment for Terence Crawford going into this fight?
His sometimes willingness to take somebody's punch. It's like, but I'll tell you something. Great fighters do that. Punch. Yeah, great fighters do that. Holyfield used to do that. And Holyfield was my favorite fighter. I remember when he fought Alex Stewart the first time, and Alex Stewart had something like 25 fights and 25 knockouts or something like that. And Evander went out there and was letting Stewart punch him in the jaw. I was like, man, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Because this guy can crack. But it turned out that Holyfield had one hell of a chin. And we didn't know that until till he had gone through fighting so many different guys. But you don't really want to taste a guy's power, Right.
So you think Bud has a bad habit of allowing himself to taste someone's power and then making his adjustments afterwards, and one of these days he's going to judge the wrong punch?
I don't think it's a bad habit. It's just something that he does. But that's when you ask me what is one of his shortcomings, that's what I see. That's a glaring one. Right. Because Brook is the type of guy, he has respectable power. I mean, you saw those shots he was hitting Triple G with. And I'm like, man, if he was hitting a regular welterweight with that, them guys would be on the canvas, because there was just a strength and a size difference between he and Triple G.
And Triple G didn't move. So, Bud going to use them legs a lot more than Triple G. Triple G literally stood right there in front of him to be hit.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But that's one of the things that I think that's a detriment for Bud. But there's not a lot. And when I say that, I'm not trying to make it sound like Bud is so perfect or anything, but you have to respect him being what I call a 5-dimensional fighter. He is. There's not a lot of 5-dimensional fighters out there today. He happens to be one. And there are other guys who have not had certain types of tests to come up and rise. You know, we talked about he's a 3-division champion. And even though he's come up, he wasn't a welterweight all his life, but he has come up. And for everyone that he has dealt with at that weight class, he's handled them. The only thing he hasn't been in is the fights with the guys we'd like to see him with. That's been more politics than anybody running away from anybody. Right. But at the end of the day, nobody is anxiously jumping in there with him either.
No, not at all.
That's like, you ever grew up and there was a guy in the neighborhood. Could have been a guy like Bud, little short guy or a little skinny dude or whatever. But you never wanted to get in a fight with that guy. Because with him, it's like no holds barred. And he might pick up a pipe, bust your head. And if you get the better of him, it ain't over. Because he going to catch you around the corner or something a couple of days later. Exactly. And you thought it was over with. And here he come. He's still coming at you. That's Bud Crawford.
Dang. You always got to get that one up, man. Always got to get that one up. That's that killer instinct, man. I like that.
Can I throw something in there?
Absolutely. Oh, well, let me move it to Monty, and we coming right to you, Mo. We coming right to you.
My man.
I got to get Monty in this on this one. Monty, you heard everything Boxing Logics United said, right? I'm gonna give you the flow on that, man. I'm gonna step back on that. I know you got a lot to say. How do you feel about the Kell Brook and Earl Spence situation that went down in the UK? And how did it play out the way you think he said it played out?
Negative, dog. I disagree with what he said.
How did I know that was the answer? You know what I'm saying?
Because when he say, first of all, he say Earl was throwing a lot of low blows. I disagree with that. You know, you shoot when you shoot low blows, bro, and people trying to block with elbows, shots have a tendency of going a little lower, but they're not on purpose. But those was all screwdriver low blow shots that was breaking Kell down. Then when you say, it seemed like it was biased towards Earl Spence, I disagree with that as well. Kell had his moments, and Kell had, they gave Kell the love that he deserved and that he went out there and got. And they gave Earl the love that he deserved and they went out there and got. So I ain't go back to the notion of, it looked like Earl had a bigger machine behind him than Kell, because that was false. How do we got the bigger machine behind him when he the one going out to Brahma Lane? You know what I'm saying? He going to 30,000 enemies. You know what I'm saying? They screaming against him, not with him. You ain't Kell Brook backyard. These the people that's making all the rules. Eddie Hearn set all the standards. You know what I'm saying? They lied on him and say he was doing drugs. Then, he don't want to take the test. He did the test. He come out there. You know what I mean? It was just that Earl went out there and earned their respect, dog. He earned their respect. He took their hearts and he took the respect. You know what I mean? And in the fight, we've seen everything turn. That's just what it is. When the fight turn and the fight again, they just do. You gotta respect that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about when fighters go over to the UK, man. The odds are against them. You know what I'm saying? The odds are against them. That's why Floyd always smart. He wouldn't go to the UK. Why you think Andre Darrell got did in against Carl Frost? Why you think Ward didn't want to go over there, dog? You gotta really look at the situation when you're talking about that. Earl had balls to go over there to the UK and take that scrap from Kell Brook. You know what I mean? Took it from him. And you saying he was 4 minutes away from winning. Kell Brook wasn't up on the scorecards at the time when he took the knee, partner.
I said that. That's why I think it was against him.
How's it against him when Earl Spence is winning the fight? But let me go. But with that being said, dog, it was a hell of a fight. Brook came out early on. He showed heart, just like he gonna do against Bud Crawford. You know what I mean? Came out early on, showed heart. But the dog and the grit in Earl Spence to not take no for an answer. You know what I mean? He heated up as the fight went on. He got stronger as the fight went on. Brook started falling off as the fight went on, but still, his heart, you know what I'm saying? His heart kept him in the fight. Because Brook a warrior, dog. I don't listen. People say he quit, right? People say he quit, bro. I'm not gonna say he quit. I think he did the smart move. I know it fucked with him a little bit, but if you playing with your eyesight, dog, you're not gonna play with you're not gonna play with your eyesight. Like he already was saying that you couldn't see, like, my shit broken, I know. So if you saying 3 people in the ring from the 8 all the way to the 11, like, you thinking, and then you already just got it broke against Triple G one side. You know what the doctor's telling you. That's playing in the back of your head now. You know what I mean? You got your head ringing already, and you got this young hungry lion over here that's coming to kill your ass. So he thinking about his career, and he thinking about his future after boxing. So I'm not just gonna say he quit, because Brook showed heart. He showed heart in that fight, dog. Even when Earl dropped him, even when Earl was having his rally, Brook turned him back around and started having his rally back on him. So I'm not. That's why I say I'm not gonna call Kell Brook a quitter like a lot of people try to say. That in third, I just thought the man made the right call. He made the right call, because if he'd have stayed in there and somehow Earl hit him with that one shot that his eye was hanging out his head, or he go blind, you know what I mean? He go fight himself for the rest of his life. And I don't care if no fans or no doctor can give you your eyesight back. Facts. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna knock the man for that. You feel me? So,
you know what, Monty, that's something that I had to evolve on myself, because at first I was like, I ain't taking too nice to seeing that knee either. But then I had to think about it, and I had to listen to a lot of cats that slide through, and they be like, look, man, you, like you just said, clear. The man had to think about his vision. He probably was in that ring at that time, hearing that doctor in his head, like, yo, if you take another punch, your eye gonna go, your eyesight gonna go. And that took me a while to kind of come to grips with, because I didn't want to really label him as a quitter either. But I'm like, man, but in front of your home crowd. But then again, it's not a fight. It's not enough money. Ain't nothing in the world worth you losing your vision. You know what I mean? So I totally understand. And it took me a minute to come to terms with that too. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. So,
and then think about it, man. When it happened with Gennady Golovkin, you feeling it. You know the feeling, and he like, I know it's broken. Like in his head, he probably like, I know this damn eyesight gone, it's broken. It feel the same way it felt with Gennady Golovkin, or I'm seeing what I seen with Gennady Golovkin. And the doctor probably would have told him in the Golovkin fight, yeah, you got heart, but if you'd have taken another blow, so and so this, and like you say, that could have played in the back of his head. So I get Kell Brook all the credit in the world, bro. But with that being said, Earl Spence did what he had to do to go over there to become the new IBF world champion, and he did it in impressive fashion. You know what I'm saying? So. Okay. All what I'm hearing from my guy is a lot of excuses for real.
Just analyzation. Yeah. Let me go in.
Before I give it to you, I'm about to give it to Boxing Logic United. I'm gonna highlight this comment by Light Lit Up real quick. And I want y'all to address this, because I'm hearing with Myron is saying, and I hear what you saying, Monty. So Light Lit Up, you saying that there's a machine behind Spence that must be bigger than boxing. So you saying that all the chips just seem to be falling his way.
Okay.
But isn't Earl Spence a pay-per-view attraction at this point? So what happens whenever a stable gets a pay-per-view attraction? They become the head guy. They get the guy that get to make the decisions and become the A side and things like that. Ain't that the normal way of boxing? So I'm gonna leave it to you with that one, Boxing Logic United.
Okay. Well, it's sheer numbers. It's sheer numbers also. The IBF or whoever it is, and I don't mean to go into this, I'm just going to say a hot minute. Yeah. By the boxing by that belt, whatever, being in America does better than being in the UK. Why? Sheer numbers. 350 million compared to 60 million. I don't have to do the math for y'all, okay? It's laws of averages and it's numbers in that. More numbers, more potential money. I'll leave that there. The other thing, with my man, Monty Brown said dropped, and you corrected said took a knee. When Kell Brook took that knee, Earl Spence was like 10 feet away from him. Earl Spence didn't put him down, and neither did Triple G put him down. If I'm not mistaken. In those two fights, Kell Brook was never put on his back. Now look, I'm calling the fight 50-50. I'm not for either. I'm a boxing first. Not no fighter first. I want the best for us, the fans. But I understand boxing is about a game. Kell Brook never went on his back in either one of those fights. Never. So it wasn't a punch that put Kell Brook down from Earl Spence Jr. He went down and he was grimacing over his freaking right eye.
Right.
That's exactly what happened.
That's
Spence was 10 feet away.
Well, Earl
So, hold up. I'm done. I ain't gonna be as long as the last one. I will not be as.
I know.
I feel you, Monty. Hold on, Monty. Let me say, I'm not gonna be as long as last time, Monty.
I'm just letting you know, Earl dropped him in the fight.
But here's what I'm saying, Monty. Just give me 1 minute. I won't be as long as last time. I'm gonna finish this quick, brother. What I'm saying is, from what I saw, I thought Kell Brook was leading that fight. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is, out of the top 3 in America, or just say the PBC, is Crawford, I'm sorry, Porter, Thurman, and you got what? Danny Garcia, right?
Hold on.
And then you had
over Spence. You're not putting them over Spence.
I'm about to get to it. Out of all those 3 fighters in sport fought Sean Porter, we can't say Terence Crawford yet. Out of 3 fighters that fought Sean Porter, Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, right. Keith Thurman, right? Mm-hmm. Who definitively beat? The only one who definitively beat Sean Porter was Kell Brook. His fight versus Danny Garcia, closest. His fight versus Keith Thurman, close as hell.
Now you know he beat Porter on the split.
He was beat down.
You know he beat Porter on the split decision.
Who?
Kell Brook.
He beat Porter on the split.
Bro, that's American decision. You watch that fucking fight.
Come on,
if you watch that fight and you look at Sean Porter's face, dude, compared to his face and the other 2, that fight was a definitive beatdown. But he was on American soul. But he beat Sean Porter so good. But let me finish. He beat Sean Porter, and look, this, you know what backs what I'm saying? When you ask Sean Porter, and he said it multiple times. When you ask Sean Porter, he said, the only fight I feel I truly lost was to Kell Brook. He said that out his mouth 3 or 4 times.
I've heard that.
Yes. So what I'm saying, let me finish and I'm done. And what I'm saying is, the only one to beat the motherfucker who make everybody look bad in the welterweight division, which is Showtime, the only one he say truly beat me was Kell Brook. Now that says something. That's why I believe Terence Crawford is fighting. If he didn't lose to Earl Spence, if he didn't take a kamikaze trip up to 160, fought Gennady Golovkin, who was the boogeyman, who nobody wanted to fight, and he was the first one going there and did good. Before the eye socket, we would be saying Kell Brook top 5 pound for pound. So now with 2 losses, 39-27, 39, 2 losses, 27 KOs. He get those 2 losses consecutively. The fight between Gennady Golovkin and the fight between Earl Spence was 8 months. It was an 8-month lap. He went 160, 8 months later, fight down to 147. You got to take all that shit into account. Yep. So what I'm saying is Crawford is fighting a motherfucking beast Saturday night. Yep. Do not get no mistake about it. If it's mine, if he come in really believing, doing what he did the first time, which is taking the belt from the American on their soul, if that's his driving force, then Crawford is going to be in for a fight of his life. I'm not saying Crawford not going to win, but I'm saying we're going to have a treat on our hands. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, that was good. Good breakdown. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Now, all I'm hearing from my dude, Boss Logic, is a lot of excuses when it comes to that.
I love you, Monty. But I'm just keeping it real.
All right. I hear you. Because now, whenever they come to Kell Brook, right, even in his hometown, Spence got the machine behind him. In America,
obvious.
He's on American soil. Listen, bro, I watched the Porter.
That was the last time, man.
Wait a minute. I watched the Porter fight over, dog, and that fight was close as shit. Like my brother Mainman just said, it was a split decision fight. Not because he was on the hometown. And listen, I was going for Kell Brook to win because Porter took the scrap from Devin Alexander, my St. Louis brother, right? So when I was a little biased at the fight. I went back and watched that fight over, dog, with an unbiased eye, dog. And Sean Porter was in Kell Brook ass just like he was doing everybody else. But the person who beat who beat Sean Porter the best out of Thurman, Danny Brook, out of Thurman,
Danny Garcia.
No, Danny. It's Earl Spence, dog. Hold on, stop. You had your time. Earl dropped this man, right? Yeah, I thought this man landed a lot of punches on Earl.
Facts.
Earl went in there and fought this man, dog. He fought him. He fought him.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? He didn't move. Like, y'all keep talking about Porter as Porter was the only person coming straight forward. No, Earl went forward because he wanted to knock out Sean Porter. And you're not going to knock out a Sean Porter just by fighting him. Just by trying to box him. You understand what I'm saying? So, Earl, out of all them people, Earl dropped this man. And y'all look at that as being like nothing. But with that being said, dog.
His glove touched the canvas.
Listen,
he didn't even go off his feet, baby.
Listen. I don't want to hear none of that, dog. Let me go.
That was the 11th round.
Listen, dog. He dropped this man. Period.
No, he dropped him. He dropped him.
Yeah, his glove hit the glove. His glove barely touched the canvas.
Where you went, bro? Let me go. Now check this out.
You was talking.
You talking about Crawford got a beast on his hand. I don't deny that. Don't keep bringing up 8 months and this, that, and the third. He let Eddie Hearn control his career. He could have went upon Earl Spence before he went up. You know what? He decided to go up and get a paycheck. That's his fault. He could have vacated the title, but he know what? He wanted to be a man, and I respect him because he wanted to defend his strap. He didn't want to just give it up. But don't keep making up all these excuses. Oh,
not excuses. I'm just putting context to the situation, bro. It's context to the situation.
Stop. Now it's 8 months. It's the eye socket. You got the stick behind him. You know what I mean? It's every excuse in the book. Now
he the only one to beat Porter better than all the other three here in America.
100% Kell Brook, even 100% Kell Brook is not going to beat 100% Terence Crawford, dog. Terence Crawford IQ is just too smart for that man. Even if it get into a fight, Bud can bang his ass off, but Bud IQ is so smart to outbox this man, dog. He's going to outbox this man, period, dog. And if Bud don't want to get touched by him, he won't get touched because he got the nigga legs to do so. You understand what I'm saying? Kell Brook is not a pressure fighter. He's a smart, technical, solid fighter when you banging with him.
High IQ with a high IQ.
If I can chime in on this Porter, who beat Porter the cleanest, I gotta admit. Now, I went on it in the video on the channel.
It was Kell Brook.
Bruh, I sat down and I watched the fight between Porter and Spence, and I judged it round by round. It's here live on the channel. Y'all can go check that out. And I gave it to Earl Spence Jr.
I gave it to Porter.
I gave it to Earl 8-4, and here's the reason. I was like you, bro. I was like, really. At first, I thought Porter took it, but when upon close evaluation, what I noticed, none of that shit was landing, bro. And you can go back and watch it. You watch it up close. Everything.
I watched that fight 3 times. I thought Porter won.
He smothered a lot of his work, and most importantly, his punches were just missing the mark. And Earl did almost a Gennady Golovkin-like performance when Golovkin fought David Lemieux. Y'all remember how he just dismantled David Lemieux with the jab and until he started eventually putting big shots on him?
Yeah.
Same thing happened in that fight, bro. Where what I noticed, Earl was controlling his Porter with the jab, and he was just touching him. Porter wasn't touching him at all. He was just swinging, hitting arms, hitting gloves, and Earl just kept touching him, and then eventually started landing big shots on him down the stretch. But I thought, as far as the cleanest, I think he beat him just a little bit cleaner than Brook, just a little bit, because Brook had to keep holding. Earl never went to the holding. He just went and fought Porter straight up and down.
Yes, he did hold.
It's not like Kell was doing, though, bro. Kell was holding off for every single exchange. Like, every time they exchanged, Kell would grab him. It wasn't like,
man, look at the face between their fights, man. Kell beat the shit out that dude. And I'm a Porter fan. And you know I'm a Porter fan. I love Showtime. He's my favorite in the welterweight division. But Kell beat him better than Spence. I just had to be real.
That's your opinion, man. You can't knock your opinion.
But wouldn't the Americans, you don't think the Americans would have been more biased towards Porter than they would have towards Kell? Because they gave it a split decision. They called it a split. So you think
no, they don't. No, they wouldn't. You know why? You know they wouldn't, because Porter doesn't have that it factor for America to really get behind him. And we're about selling tickets. And Porter don't have that it factor. Maybe Spence maybe do. I mean, Keith Thurman may have some more than the other two.
At that time, Porter was making his name, dog. So
yes, but he don't have the it factor. That X factor that really make a superstar.
Porter was fresh off beating Devin Alexander at that time, wasn't he?
Exactly. He doesn't have the X factor. You know what I'm talking about. He don't have that X shit, that Marvin shit, that Sugar Ray.
Porter was just making his name. If he would have beat Kell Brook, do you understand? He would his it factor would have rose, dog. But he lost that fight. Yep. If he would have beat Kell Brook when he fought Kell Brook, Porter's shit would have rose because he already had a notion of being Manny Pacquiao's sparring partner. He came, he just beat Devin Alexander, who was one of the hottest fighters. Remember, Devin was supposed to fight Kell Brook, but they kept going back and forth with the injuries and things like that. But he ended up fighting Sean Porter, and Porter ended up taking that IBF. And then I think he defended it once, and then he came back. And now he's fighting Kell Brook, or he's
Money.
fighting Brook next.
Money. What I'm saying, let me explain, Money.
Let me tell you. You can't say he didn't have the it factor.
I'm talking about the it factor. I'm talking about the optics and the aesthetics of the fighter that excites the fans.
Let him get it off.
The optics and aesthetics that excites the fans. Porter don't have it. We all know it.
Let him get it off.
Yeah, Porter would have beat Kell Brook, dog. That stock was gonna rise. Regardless of what you're saying, bro. That was a big time fight, was it not, Mainman? We was all into that fight. He asked Kell Brook, undefeated Kell Brook, one of the hottest things over in the UK, dog. And if he would have beat Kell Brook, he would have rolled. But Kell Brook stole that thunder and beat Sean Porter and took that strap back to the UK.
To the UK.
You know what I mean?
And didn't come back to America no time soon after that.
No time soon. Had like 3 titles to fight. Titles over in the UK.
In the UK. Yeah.
And then when you look at it, you saying oh, they wanted the FBF make more money in America than the UK. Then if that's the case, then like Mainman say, why did the sticky decision go to Sean Porter on American soil?
Say that again. Why didn't what?
Why didn't the decision go to Sean Porter on American soil?
Because Sean Porter doesn't have the it factor.
We didn't know who Brook was. Huh? We didn't know who Brook was.
With big fights ahead over here in America, dog. So no, I can't agree with you.
After he beat, okay, let me get listen time. After Kell Brook beat Sean Porter, who did he fight next?
Kevin Bizier or JoJo Dan or one of them dudes.
Right.
Didn't he go up after that? He fought Gennady Golovkin?
No, he didn't.
He had like 3 fights, bro.
Okay. So this is the time where Earl Spence Jr. This is the time where Earl Spence Jr. is still being groomed and coming up, right? So it's a grace period for Earl Spence Jr. to still be groomed and coming up. He has a humongous market behind him, and that is Texas.
Fact.
A country by itself.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
But that's what makes him.
This game is numbers, bro. And you know everybody know. I bet you everybody can count better than they can read. This game is numbers.
But you said it perfect, Myron. You said it perfect. That answers your question from earlier about y'all ex, like why was you? I think like lit up said that everything going his way and why everything is catering. You just said it. He got a humongous market behind him. He's an attractive fighter. He got a fan-friendly style. So of course, boxing is going to boxing is going to surround Earl Spence and push him to the front because he's giving boxing fans everything that we want.
Bingo. And now, there you go.
But that's the reason why he does have maybe but that's been going on in boxing since the beginning of time. Whoever's the hottest fighter, they get certain perks. It just works that way.
True. 100%.
Yeah, but that Kell Brook fight wasn't leaning towards no Earl Spence like you're trying to.
But at that time, Earl Spence wasn't who he is today.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't who he is today.
There you go,
back then, we barely knew Earl back then. Like we knew he was a force, but we didn't know how big of a force he was going to be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was like a coming out party. You know what I'm saying?
Earl wasn't even thought of at that time.
And Earl needed that. See, Terence Crawford had that too when he went and fought Ricky Burns. Same situation. I believe that every great fighter, if you're a great fighter, needs to go into a hostile territory, you know, and do something big and bring it back home. You know, Kell did it, Crawford did it, Earl did it. You know what I mean?
That's 2 champions. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and that lets you know that they cut from a special type of cloth. They'll walk into your backyard and take what you got and take it home.
And that's why why the Earl Spence problem, and I don't mean it's negative, but that's why the Earl Spence marketing machine is stronger than the Crawford, because Texas probably got 10 times the more people than motherfucking Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh no, no question.
So ain't no comparison. You got Jerry Jones. You got everything. I'm not. Hold on, let me finish. I'm not saying that to take nothing from Earl Spence Jr. If you got it, it's just how the game is in the business of boxing. He can back it up. He backs it up. Earl Spence Jr. backs all of that up. I'm not taking that away from Earl Spence Jr., but it's a part of the boxing business. And you know what I mean? And we probably shouldn't even be talking about it. They don't like us talking about that stuff. But you know how we do in DMV. We go to the nit and gritty. You know what I mean? But I know Monty Brown is from Texas. So he's a part of that motherfucker.
Nah. You from St. Louis. St. Louis.
Oh, you from St. Louis? Peace to you, champ.
I'm from Texas. But look, let me tell you this. It's not just that he came from Texas, bro. You got to understand when he was coming out the Olympics. This what y'all fail to realize, bro.
He's close to Texas.
Earl Spence had I'm far from Texas. I'm in the Midwest. Listen, Earl Spence had his peers backing him on everything that was going down with him. You got to remember, Earl Spence came out with the notion of knocking out Adrian Broner and Spawn. He came out with giving Floyd Mayweather the black eye, whooping his ass. You had him being the top Olympian coming out of everybody saying Earl was gonna be this and be that. So he was already known as the truth already. You see what I'm saying? You had even Freddie Roach deeming this man as something special coming out there. And at that time, you know, everybody respect Freddie Roach, having Manny Pacquiao right there in this corner doing that thing. So it ain't just that he from Texas, bro. It's that his peers, they knew what he was. He came out a young, hungry lion. He came out saying he wanted to fight this person, that person, and this person. You understand? He just had it, bro. He came out and he was giving us knockout, and he was looking damn good, showing that he was the goods, dog. And
he made Timothy Bradley get the hell out the way.
Get the hell out the way. Who?
Earl made Tim get out the way, fam. He made Tim retire. You know what I'm saying? you know that's the reason that Tim Bradley got the hell out the way. He was due to face Earl Spence Jr. They ordered it, right, Monty?
Yeah, WBC. He was the mandatory to WBC.
Yeah, he was the mandatory. Yeah. See, I don't know if you remember, Myron. Earl was pursuing.
I remember that.
He was pursuing two routes, and it was like whichever one came first. It was either going to be WBC or IBF. He was fighting eliminators on both, but then the IBF is the one that came first. So it made sense for Earl to go towards that IBF, that IBF belt. But however, the WBC ordered for him to face Timothy Bradley to become the mandatory. And Timothy Bradley's like, okay. All right, y'all think I'm going to face, and he retired.
Well, that's what we think his thought process was. He just finished fighting Manny Pacquiao twice. And at a skill level, I don't put Earl Spence on a Manny Pacquiao level at that time yet, but the power perhaps. So I would still favor at that time, I would have favored Timothy Bradley over Earl Spence. Maybe not today, but at that time.
That was after Pacquiao, though. Who was fighting?
Yes, it was after Pacquiao.
That was after Pacquiao.
Yeah. So
I know it was after. What I'm saying is I still favored Timothy Bradley versus Earl Spence then.
We're saying the Provodnikov almost kill him. Like this point, my
facts.
We said Provodnikov almost kill him. We saying the fucking Jesse Burgers almost knock him out in the last round, but you gonna favor Tim Bradley over Spence. Okay.
Nah, Bradley was punch drunk by that time, bro. Bradley was shot. He was shot.
Knock his ass out.
I like getting Monty riled up. Monty is cool as shit.
That's the homie. That's the homie.
We just talking. It's all fun.
Yeah, but he if you want though, for anybody who here, that interview actually still exists here on YouTube. You can look it up. They asked Timothy Bradley square off, like, are you going to face? You got to face Earl Spence, and he just looked at the cameras like, I do. Oh, okay. he already knew the plans was for him to retire, and he wasn't gonna make that fight, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Me and Monty was on the same team on another channel because he said some real shit. Only the shit I agree with is only what I'm gonna rock with. Me and Mike Brown said some shit, and I came on like, y'all motherfucking jump on this dude. He's saying some real shit, and he came in. I don't know if he expected me to be on his side, but I was like, no, Monty Brown was actually writing this shit. Boom, 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 and then the whole fucking live became everybody against me and Monty Brown. Am I lying, Monty?
Oh yeah. Whenever I'm on somebody's panel, they'll always be me against everybody. So.
Hey man, that's Monty, man. Monty, that dude, he ready, man. He always war ready, man, and he always down to speak that real spiel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I will say this about Tim Bradley: he earned the right not to fight Earl Spence if he didn't want to, though, because he did like damn, he fought everybody, and we knew he was punch drunk, and we knew the shit that he went through, and we knew like the on some real shit. We know Tim was known for not turning down fights, you know, but it was just at a time in his career where it was like. man, listen, I'm not gonna go out and whoever, like I say, whenever Earl Spence fights somebody, it's a different loss than them fight somebody else because of the fans behind them, the way we push them, and the way they push them. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a little bit bigger and a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, the it factor when somebody that's got that
right, exactly.
Yeah, it'll diminish you a little bit. And Bradley was like, "Man, y'all got me fucked up, dog. I earned my money, I made my money."
Yeah, Bradley, like I ain't doing that shit, bro.
Yeah, like I'm straight. I'm not hurting for no money. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all want me to be a stepping stone for this kid. And not saying Bradley won't go fight his ass, because Bradley go fight you. But at the same time, it's like, nah, I'm good, dog. I ain't gonna be no stepping stone, dog. I'm gonna go ahead and move on out and become this old commentator, make this money this way. You know what I'm saying?
He was highly intelligent, bro. He was highly intelligent, for real. He left out on his own terms. You could say that.
Yes, sir.
My decision, man.
That Provodnikov loss, it hurt him. It put him back, and he went through a whole stretch. Like you say, that man was slurring words, didn't remember certain things. Yeah,
I wouldn't even wanted to see Tim do that, bro. To be honest with you, man, Earl probably would have gave that man permanent damage, bro.
I agree.
It would have been a wrap, man. I'm glad Tim actually got out of the way of that. But that was the decision, you know what I'm saying? And so Earl says, you know what? I'm gonna be the mandatory in the IBF. I ain't got to fight no more fights. I ain't got to wait for this and wait for that, because even if he would have beat Tim, it still wouldn't guarantee them no WBC title shot no time soon. You know what I'm saying? Remember, Danny came in and swooped that up. Remember? Yeah. Danny moved up in weight, and he came in and he stood and got me being the champion down low. They put him up high, and he got a chance at the title first. So Earl would have been still waiting. Earl's chance at the WBC belt wouldn't have came around until around the time when Danny fought Keith. I think that would have been that. But how long after that was that took forever? You know what I'm saying? So it was a smart route for Earl Spence Jr. to take to go to the IBF. But fellas, I'm about to get ready to shut this down and get up out of here. So if y'all can give y'all closing remarks, man, before y'all roll. I see Stormy done already had to pull an early exit. Salute to Stormy B, man. But starting with Monty, man, if y'all can give y'all final remarks on this fight, I greatly appreciate it.
Oh man, I appreciate you, bro, man. It was fun up on the check, kicking it with you. But listen, bro, it's gonna be a good scrap, right? It's gonna be a hell of a fight, dog. But I see a lot of people ride with Kell Brook on the notion of how they feel like Bud, how he treat black media, and sometimes people got a disdain against him, and some people just don't like Bud Crawford, so they want to see him take an L. You got to keep it all the way real down the middle, dog. Right now, Bud Crawford is on his shit still. He's on his shit. And like I say, I won't pick a 100% Kell Brook to be the 100% Bud no time. And I don't think this is a 100% Kell Brook, but I still think it's a damn good Kell Brook. So I know this man not going to beat no Bud Crawford. Listen, the odds not what it is for no reason. But the people want to say it's a 10-1 is just too high. Oh, I want to drop a couple dollars. I want to do this. Man, listen, that man not going to beat no times Bud Crawford. Them legs, he gonna have some success. Don't get me wrong. You'll hit Bud with some shit where y'all gonna be like, ooh, yeah, ooh, it's varsity. You gonna get touched. But at the end of the day, when it's time to have your hand raised, Terence Bud Crawford gonna figure out a way to beat this man. And if he got to sit up there and think and use them legs and outbox and outpoint this man to a 12-round decision, that's what Terence Bud Crawford gonna do, because he can adjust and he got many tools in the toolbox and he's supposed to use all his tools. But it's gonna be one hell of a fight, dog. I got Terence Bud Crawford, unanimous decision, 8-4, somewhere around that nature. But it's gonna be entertaining where we're gonna enjoy it and we can sit down and watch it over. But ain't no way Kell Brook beat Terence Bud Crawford, and I'm taking all bets.
All day. Yeah.
Yo, Mainman.
Appreciate you. Yeah. Oh, Stormy still here? Oh, there you go.
I'm still here. Hey, Stormy, you said I had checked out. I was just, my mic was on mute.
No, look, on our screen, your avatar's gone.
Yeah,
so I thought you had stepped out, bro.
You know what? My internet is acting a little funny, but I'm still here. I just had my mic muted.
Well, guess what?
I know he's been there the whole time. He just lost his avatar. I'm like,
I swear, I would have definitely got Stormy back in the con. I did not know, bro. I thought
Stormy, I'm sure know how to come in and barge in and get his voice heard.
Yeah, I ain't even know.
Quiet for a minute though.
I was just enjoying the conversation. I mean, I was enjoying what you guys were cooking on.
You cook that boy up. That's all it was. Put it back.
hey, I'm gonna go live after you, man. So if anybody want to come in and talk that hot shit, please come to Boxing Logics United after everybody say they final comments.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes,
well,
sir.
let me go since my internet acting a little funny. I just want to say thanks to Mademan for inviting me on. Hey man, this is the first time I got a chance to chop it up with you, and I'd love to come back sometime and even invite you on my platform as well. I like what you're doing with your channel and the discussions on the sport that you have, man. Much respect to you, and much respect to the other brothers on the panel as well, man.
But what's your last comments on the fight, man? What's your last thoughts?
Yeah, what's your last thoughts on this?
I feel like my final thoughts is I know it was said that this is going to be a really tough fight for Bud and everything, but I'm gonna tell you something. Bud is the type of fighter, and I was cooking on this with Mainman early in the conversation. Bud is the type of fighter. He's never had it easy. He's never had it, a cakewalk or whatever. He's made things look like cakewalks, but it's for a man with the temperament that he has, the way he approaches, the day that he doesn't fight with fire and desire is the day that he needs to walk away from the sport. But I don't think this is the time or the opponent for that. I really believe that Kell Brook, the harder to come, the harder he comes, the harder he falls. That's what he's dealing with here. And he's dealing with a guy who has an elite set of skills. We cannot deny that. You can't leave that off the table. Facts. Regardless, you think you're a bigger guy, you think you're a stronger guy, but you're in there with a guy who's really sly and has ability and a killer instinct. If you slip, he gonna push you down. You understand? So it's like that's how I feel about it. And I got Bud winning the fight, either late round stoppage or a unanimous decision. Either way.
Wow. Great breakdown, bro. Great breakdown. Great breakdown. All right. We're gonna move on to Boxing Logic United. Final remarks, sir, on the fight. And let me know what you think.
Hey man. Again, I reiterate, I think we're in for a treat. That's all I have to say. I mean, not all I have to say, of course, but I think we're definitely in for a treat. I think, again, the question earlier, the detriment that Kell Brook may be bringing into this fight is perhaps mental, but it's not physical and it's not skill-wise. Because like I said before, I believe this is the most skilled opponent that Bud Crawford. This is perhaps easily the most skilled opponent, the skilled fighter in the welterweight division right now, since that's where he's fighting at. I believe Kell Brook is perhaps the most skilled fighter in the welterweight division. And if what didn't happen to him in the past, we'd be looking at him as the number one welterweight. So, but the mental issue is the only thing I may question after what's going on and the fans, turning their back on him or whatever, and the media and Eddie Hearn and all of that. But I think this fight is going to be a hell of a fight. If Kell Brook is eyes half healed, if his eye socket is half healed, this will be a hell of a fight. I do pick Terence Crawford to win, but it's by a slight margin. Now, and that meaning you
picking decision.
A unanimous decision. I don't think Kell Crawford is going to stop him. Terence Bud Crawford, not Kell Crawford. Listen to me, but I don't think Crawford going to stop him. But if he do, I sound like pretty much like my man at the bottom to the left of me. My bad. I think it would be if it's anything, it's going to be late, and it might be because of the mindset and perhaps the will. Like I said, in that stare down, I saw Kell take a step backwards when Crawford took a step forward. So that's playing in my mind, but. As long as he can keep it up, if he has early success versus Terence Bud Crawford, then it could be a long night for Terence Bud Crawford. If Terence Bud Crawford start late, and again, Kell builds up his confidence by starting late, and perhaps the one thing I'm worried about, I'm gonna end it right here. The one thing I'm worried about from Kell Brook on Crawford is the straight right hand. It's just he repeatedly hit your boy Porter with.
Oh yeah,
he crushed Porter with the straight right hand. Kell Brook, and he threw it many different ways. If he started landing that straight right hand on Crawford early on and often, it's going to be a very, very interesting fight. But I'm leaning towards Crawford. Period. That's all.
All right. Well, there you have it, man. Everybody's final remarks. I want to say thank you to everybody, man. Thank you all for coming and rocking with me, man. Salute to my brother Monty Brown. Salute to my brother Boxing Logics United. Salute to Stormy B, man. Hey, fight fans, y'all just got a hell of a treat, man. Y'all just had this fight broken down from 4 angles of some real live boxing minds. You need to be subscribed to every single person on this panel. Subscribe. These are fam. This is fam right here. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate all of y'all support, man, all day. You know what I'm saying? Real spirit. So with that being said, fam, I'm gonna catch up with y'all real soon. Tomorrow on We Talking Boxing, I'll be here. You know what I mean? I will give my final breakdown, but I gotta hold mine until tomorrow, until I do after the weigh-in. I always kind of get my prediction then. So I want to hold on.
I'm going on live later on, so come through if y'all want.
Yeah, for sure. And Monty be back in December. Monty, we over there, fam. We over there. You know what I'm saying? So
what happened, Monty? What happened to Monty? He said back in December.
Yeah, they took my live stream, dog, over some bull crap.
Oh, yeah. That bullshit. Come on, Monty. Hey, look, Monty, come on my shit and get your work in.
Yeah,
yes,
keep your motherfucking blade sharp all day, every day.
All day.
Hey, Boxing Logics, I just subscribed to you, bro.
Thank you, sir. And I'm going to subscribe right back.
Yes,
I didn't even know you had a channel. I just subscribed too. You know, you always hating on me until you got the real. You know.
Hating on who?
Yeah.
You used to hate on me, Boxing Logic, dog. You used to hate on me, dog.
Yeah, y'all gonna cut. I'm gonna tell you like this, Boxing Logic. I'm very versed in Boxing Logic United's boxing spiel, and I'm very versed in Monty's. It'll be a matter of time. It's just gonna be a matter of time. I was gonna say that. You know what I mean? So,
but you know what? I like Monty. Come on, steel sharpens steel. That's why I want him on there quite often. And it's all love to begin with. We don't have no play in that ring. We don't have no play in that ring. We just helping brothers get on and get better. Come on.
I love it. And we do sharp debates. It's all good over here, man. We do stuff like that. So. But with that being said, fellas, I'm out of here, man. Much love to all of y'all. Thumbs up on the way out if you did not hit it on the way in.
Hit the like button.
Hit that like button. Check out everybody on this panel. I catch up with y'all real soon, fam. We're going to break down some more things. We got some stuff to talk about Bomb Squad. We're going to get there. And we're going to get to Earl and Danny also, man. We're going to get there probably tomorrow when we talking boxing. So I catch up with y'all real soon. Thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Like I always say, much love to you all. And until the next one, man. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace and pugilism.